They hate when you elevate, yeah. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. Elevate, They hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself.
Yeah. Let's get to it. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody in the room. Yo, shout out to Chris Brooks. Shout out to, we got a new Drumming for Life. You look new to me. Salute. Welcome to the chat, brother. If you're still in the building, shout out to I don't see too many people in the chat. There's only like 4 of us out here. Ray Davis, salute. I guess Ray Davis is back in. There we go. I was waiting for him to show up.
I was here. I was here. Okay, my bad. Okay. I was dealing with the incident we talked about, man. It's all good.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little later because it sounded spicy. It sounded like fun.
Oh yeah, it was spicy. Yeah, it could have got bad, but you know.
You know what it is.
I try to be a professional about things. Salute, Chris Brooks. How you doing? What's up? Here for boxing.
Salute.
For real.
Salute, man.
Tonight. Building.
Oh yeah, is she here?
Yeah, King in the building. Yes,
I don't know.
Yes,
for sure.
Like they're here.
Oh, okay.
Sunny Augustine.
Salute. Yeah, we did it a little late tonight. We kicked in a little bit late. You know how it is, man. You on that time.
Yo, I'm laughing, bro. I just can't believe how people are, bro. They try to spin the narrative, bro. Like, you know what? That was real life too. They try to spin the narrative.
That's what it's all about, man.
You know,
it's all narratives.
You know what's great about this this baseball thing? Sorry, I don't mean to really throw this off topic, but they record the games, bro. Mm-hmm. So everything that this dude did was recorded. So I wasn't even wrong. Like my league board president was like, "Yo, you was in the right, bro." He was like, "You did everything right."
Yeah.
This next time, the next time question after the game, I was like, "Nah, bro, you ain't dancing." Let me let them know. He started dancing after he called a strike on one of my guys. First of all, he threw a kid out. Got a kid thrown out who was safe. And it's on video that he was safe. Then I questioned it. And I said the call was terrible. And I'm talking to the parents. You know what I mean? Wasn't talking to him. And he just like did this. And then he started dancing. Like some weird dance. I'm like, bro, seriously? Oh, I said, you really acting like that, bro? He was like, he was like,
salute Andrew Charles. Salute Ordinary M in the building.
So I just went back. I just told him I wanted to get my stuff, and he was yelling at me and stuff. You know, Clay. You heard me before the fold get at it.
Salute 2 cents. 2 cents is in the building. Yeah, I mean, we'll politic about that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk, bro. It was fun though. It was funny. Listen, it was boxing though, bro. It was about to be.
Nah, man, and shout out to here for boxing. Devin ain't. I mean, listen, all the narratives are gonna get pushed, man. Tonight's conversation is gonna be we gonna get to the meat of it because you try to beat around the bush of it and try to be as diplomatic as possible, but people are gonna spin it regardless, no matter how you come at it. So if they're gonna spin it, at least let them spin the real. You know what I'm saying? Let them spin the real. No one boxer, no one promotional company is above the sport of boxing, right? This is we've been preaching this. We're not the first people to preach this, and we won't be the last people to preach this. And boxing seems to be presently in a transitional era right now. There's a transition happening right now, and in all great sports and all great things, transition happens. You know what I mean? You break somebody down one level to build them back up 2 or 3 levels. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing as working out the muscles, right? You rip and you tear down the muscles so that you can build the muscles back up stronger and stronger. And it seems like boxing right now is going through that. You know what I mean? Boxing is going through this transitional period to where they're rebuilding, they're revamping. Right? Implementing new ideas or in some cases implementing old ideas, the best fighting the best, putting that on the table and finding a way to get there because money was the new thing. With social media, with the access that we have as fans to all the information and everything that's moving the needle in the sport, the new thing was discussing the money. Money became the big conversation in boxing. It became almost as entertaining as the boxers. And for the first time in a long time, promotional companies became just as popular as boxers, right? We talk about promotional companies and we argue about promotional companies the way people argued about boxers back in the day. So there's one part of the conversation to where hardcore boxing fans were a little exhausted about the promotional company lines in the sand and having to constantly argue about how much money fighters are making or what kind of events, whose events are the best of events. But it was also an inevitable thing. We got to move forward with the times. We can't get too caught up in the past. So we have to embrace some of the new stuff, sort of like hip hop music, the way the music has changed. You could hate on it and be like, there's no real hip hop music anymore. Real hip hop music was a certain way, or you can embrace the fact that hip hop, like everything else, evolves, and boxing is evolving. You know what I mean? And we're all in these new conversations. But what it's done also is it's brought a lot of people together, right? A lot of casual fans into the sport with hardcore fans, and all this meleeing is happening. And now you see Turkey Alashiek, PBC brought in this new wave of almost operating on the Floyd Mayweather, what I call the Floyd Mayweather effect to a degree, right? Where the O can't go. If your O goes, your whole value goes away. Fighters started becoming very, very overprotective of their undefeated records and trying to get paid as much money as they could get paid to do the least work as possible. And look, I understand that. I could definitely understand that. I'm not mad at that. I get it, man. Boxing is a serious sport. Your lives are on the line. You know what I mean? Your health is on the line. I expect you guys to push it and get the most out of your money. And if you can remove yourself out of the crosshairs of being compromised as far as health is concerned, as far as your mental awareness is concerned, and you can improve your pockets, I understand. But as a fans of boxing, I think we've kind of been disserviced a little bit. Just a little bit. We've missed out on some great fights. We've missed out on some great opportunities to see some great fights. And now you see Turkey Alashiek coming into the game, and he's kind of bringing back that old feeling a little bit. Like, he talks about it. And I knew that Turkey Alashiek was going to be a big deal in the sport when I heard him say that his favorite fighters was Roberto Duran and Larry Holmes. It was significant, right? Because Larry Holmes he didn't have an era, right? He was in the transition era like we are today, right? Because during Larry Holmes' time, it was kind of dead a little bit, but it was like after the Larry Holmes time came the Mike Tyson, came the Lennox Lewis's, it surged, you know what I'm saying? And when I heard him say that, I knew that he wasn't the type of he wasn't a casual boxing fan, you know what I mean? He was a real boxing fan. And if he had the money to push it in the direction he wanted to go, I knew there was a good chance. In my heart, I felt like there was a good chance it was going to head in the direction that it's heading in right now. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about Turkey Alashiek's real effect on the game. We're going to talk about the future of the PBC as well. We're going to talk about what are they doing? What's next for Tank Davis? What's next for Canelo Alvarez? What's next for David Benavidez? What's next for the biggest stars on the PBC roster? What does the PBC have planned for them? What do you guys think they have planned for them? What do you see the PBC putting together for them? And we're also going to discuss the merging of PBC fighters onto the DAZN card, the Matchroom card, and what that actually means. And we're going to argue and talk about our opinions of what that means, or if it means anything, if we should even give a damn about it one way or the other. We're going to talk about it all tonight. You know what I mean? It's the ATP Combat Media Show. It's my co-host, Ray Davis. We're going to talk about it. It's the panel. We all in the building. You know what I'm saying? 2 Cents is in the building. Andrew Charles is in the building. Here for Boxing's in the building. G-Man King is in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Rivals in the building.
Rivals is in the building. You know what I'm saying? You got all the building. The people with the voices are in the building. 88 Sports Talk is in the building. And we're gonna talk about it tonight, man. Let's be respectful. Let's keep it respectful. Cooking with Sir Senior. Hey, y'all remember when they said Bud did bad business and needed to be with the PBC, or he won't have any fights on the cards? What happened to that? We're gonna talk about it. Cooking with CR Senior. Well, CER Senior. We're gonna talk about it. They said a lot of things. There were a lot of things that were said. That was one of many things that was said about Bud, about Turkey, about the PBC, about everything, right? A lot was said. And we're going to talk about it now because hindsight is always 2020. Hindsight is always 2020, right? And at this point, we got some facts that we can put our fingers on the pulse of, and we could talk about it. It's a free country. I'm a tax-paying citizen. You a tax-paying citizen, right? Right, Ray?
Yeah, I am.
I vote. I could say something. You know what I'm saying? I could say something, and we're going to talk about it. Why not? Why not? So, Ray, I know you had a long day with your games today and everything you had going on. Is Rollo in the building? Rollo's not in the building? Okay, Ross Clark. Salute. Salute Ross Clark. Yo, the 76ers did it. They did it. They pulled it out.
Wow.
Here for boxing. Did they do it?
They came back.
I know that, yeah, it looked like they were having a hard time. But it looks like they might have, from what I'm hearing over here, it sounds like they might have pulled it out. Crawford was playing chess and PBC, and PBC prevent, but Crawford was playing checkers. 100%. Listen, the question is, was the business model flawed from the beginning? Was anybody actually surprised at the direction that it's going in? And how long did we anticipate this style of promoting and this style of delivering fights to the fans to being effective? How long did you guys really think that was going to work? Holding boxing all under one banner, not cross promoting, not allowing fighters to fight because they're on the wrong side of the street. How long did we really expect this to last? Right? And while the fans are speaking on it, and they're trying to defend the PBC because you have a lot of fans of the PBC, fanatical fans of the PBC. What did you guys expect to happen, and what are you guys expecting to happen at this point? Just watching it for what's happening in front of you, from what you see, what sense are you making of it? What do you think about it, Ray?
Well, since I'm making out of it is that we have, like you said, we had the fandom, we had the boxing fans, and we had the people that are just loyalists. We see what the I'm trying to not extend this so long, but we see what all this is going on in Matchroom and the Zone and what they're putting together. At the end of the day, we see too many people on board with one thing, and because it's not floating their way, they go against it. And that was Turkey Alashiek trying to do all this for boxing, right? Then when he kind of pulled some of the fighters on, and he got the fighters from Tom Brown, got him over there, right, to fight. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden, that card's loaded with PBC fighters. They're using PBC fighters to make themselves established. I've heard that from many people. At the end of the day, it's boxing, bro. At the end of the day, Clay, it's boxing. Doesn't matter where they come from, because top-ranked fighters been on there, Matchroom, Golden Boy, Queensberry. They all have fought on this platform. Now PBC fighters coming over. Or PBC doing it because they don't want to lose their fighters, because I think Deontay Wilder, I don't know if he's still with the PBC, but I know he's been fighting on Matchroom for a minute now. You know what I mean? I think since Hellenius was his last fight with PBC.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's really put it there. Like, are these guys really seeing what the worth is in that side of the street? You know what I mean? Do they see like, yo, we can cross the street? You know what I mean? We ain't got to worry about getting stopped by the police. There ain't no green lights, red lights, none of that. We can just go over there, fight somebody. We ain't got to do no contractual this, and that, and we getting paid. Our promoters are getting paid. That's what it seems like is happening. It seems that the arena has gotten bigger. Like I said, it is now becoming the UFC of boxing over there. And the only thing is, at the end of the day, if they keep creating these belts like they are, it's going to be dope, and it's going to create more.
Right. I agree with you, and shout out to G-Man King, who said it's just a narrative they're trying to push. It is all narratives at the end of the day, and shout out to 2 Cents Boxing. Bob didn't really cross promote either. You know, it's not all on the PBC. The PBC didn't do this on their own. They're not public enemy number one. Right. You know what I mean? It's a team effort. You know what I mean? It's Bob. It's the PBC. It's Golden Boy. It's Top Rank. You know what I mean? A lot of the stateside promoters really made this a whole entire like territorial issue, to where it got to the point to where fights weren't being made. You know what I mean? And because when you look over in Japan, they doing their business. You know what I mean? They packing out the stadiums over there. They're making the biggest fights they can make over there. Even in the UK, they're making the biggest fights they can make over there. They're finding a way to bring it together. Turkey got involved in that conversation, brought Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn in the room, and boom, before you know it, you know what I mean? They're almost every single card that they've had ever since, I don't know how long, has had both of their fighters facing each other, to the point to now where they have a 5-on-5 getting ready to kick off on the Better Beef Bivol card, right? So in America, what we're seeing is not a PBC thing, right? But what PBC gets brought up because at the end of the day, they were the needle movers, right? They were the biggest company, like they were the most powerful company. They had the most of the champions, most of the talent. They have them probably still, maybe right now. I don't know yet because I ain't gonna lie to you. The zone looks like they really working. They, you know what I'm saying? They coming up. You know what I'm saying? But they were the ones pushing the needles, right? And who's pushing the hardest? Who has the hardest fans in the game? The PBC. The PBC fighter, the PBC promotional company as a company has the biggest and hardest fans in the game. They push the hardest for their company. And salute to them. Salute to them for being such big fans. But like I said, we're in a new era of boxing where there's the fans of the promotional companies are almost bigger than the fans of the fighters. Like the promotional companies have the real fans, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? PBC got more fans, I think, than most fighters. I mean, outside of a Gervonta Tank Davis or Canelo Alvarez or, the real big fighters, really the promotional companies get the top rank and matchroom for sure. Salute Poe Porter. Salute Poe Porter in the building. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that's why this conversation comes up. When you look at what Turkey's doing, yesterday it was really a lot of pushback on the idea of Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what 2 Cents is saying. 2 Cents is in the building. 2 Cents is in the building. She says it wasn't really an issue. It was just business, and people didn't really understand how it works. If they didn't have someone with unlimited amount of money, that business model would be the same. Maybe 2 Cents. Business. You're right, though. It was just business. It was the way business could be done because of the circumstances. But now when you bring somebody like Turkey Alashiek, who also brings business, who also brings money, you bring somebody who moves the needle, who could change the game as you know it. And they can make the old style of promoting, you know what I'm saying, outdate. It can completely outdate the style completely. And that's look like what is happening, right? Like you were able to do that because you were able to make the money. You had the biggest fighters and you took advantage of it the way you did. But now when somebody else comes in with the same exact mind state to overpay fighters, to push for what they want, you know what I'm saying, to push for the fights they want, you've opened up a Pandora box by coming to the business with that mentality. And the Pandora box you opened up was, okay, it worked for you, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Here comes Turkey with an even bigger bag to capitalize on the model that the blueprint that you laid out for him to follow, right? Let me see here. Bradley 68. I'm always going to call you Bradley 68, by the way, track boxing. You're always going to be Bradley 68. You ain't never going to get no track boxing energy over here. The question is, how long will Turk keep spending his big money for these fights if they're not making money from these fights? Well, 2 parts to that question, right? How long will Turkey do this? Turkey will do this as long as he sees it's worth his time. We're in a country, capitalism is so big in this country. So we look at the money in, the money out, and we're always trying to calculate. It's like, and I don't want to compare Turkey to God because there's no comparison. Turkey's not no God. But I'm just going to use an example to say that sometimes people try to use their logic and the way they think, and they try to bring God down to their level, right? They try to say, well, what if I was God, but you're not God, and God has a whole nother thing driving him in what he's doing and the decisions he's making. Your earthly needs and your earthly way of thinking means nothing to somebody who has no earthly, stake in the game, right? So not to compare, once again, Turkey to God. I'm sure the narrative would get pushed and I'm calling Turkey God. At least this recording will be here that I'm not calling Turkey a God. But I'm going to say that your idea of what's profitable and what makes sense and what is successful may not necessarily be aligned with what Turkey sees as successful and what he's trying to get done. So how long will he do it? He'll do it as long as his interests are being met. As far as making money from these fights, guys, I don't know. You guys got to send me the paperwork, give me the link You know what I'm saying? Shoot me the link to the site to where you guys are seeing the money in and money out, and that you're able to confirm that Turkey's just not making any money. He's just losing money. You guys got to come with a lot more than what the eyes can tell. You got to shoot me the link. I need to see the paperwork where all these numbers are getting crunched, and we see that Turkey's just doing the worst business moves in history, just throwing away all the Prince of Saudi and the King of Saudi Arabia's money into this toilet bowl that has no return coming. Right? We got to keep it real. Go ahead, Ray. Look like you was about to say something, Ray. I know I'm going.
No, I was. I'm actually about to just touch base with something on a private note, but I sent you a private chat though.
Okay.
Because Wilder was for sure PBC fighter, but I just wanted to make sure that I found the information first.
Oh, okay. Because Susan said he wasn't MC2.
Yeah, no, he was, and I don't like disputing, but it's just evidence that he was. He always was, because when PBC was on Fox, that's actually how Deontay Wilder was fighting on and what he was. You know what I mean? That's where he was a PBC athlete. He was a PBC until 2023. He left. He started fighting on Turkey Alashiek's cards. Mm-hmm. And what was crazy is that as he started fighting on those cards, he kind of moved away from them. He started working. Was it Frank Warren he started dealing with more? As he started dealing with Frank Warren more, I still think he's PBC now. I just haven't seen him fight on their network since Hellenius. That's all I was saying.
Wait, hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure. Is that it says flyer frequency?
I know. That's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah. He's saying where my wrench at, because I know freaking flyer got a wrench, and now I see flyer frequency. Right. I'm not giving you a. I don't even make sure that's. Hold on, let me text frequent and make sure that's him, bro. You know how this game get. Bro.
I got you.
All right. So yeah. At the end of the day, man. A lot of narratives have been pushed, and it just looks like from the outside looking in, if you just want me to be honest with you guys, it just looks like a lot of people are going to be eating a little bit of crow. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way, because if they would have kept their eyes on the sport and made the sport bigger than that is him. Okay, cool. I got you. And kept their eye on the sport more than a promotional company or more than a fighter, you wouldn't have to look this way. You know what I mean? Turkey's here, and what Turkey is bringing with him, a lot of boxing fans are very excited about. I've been on platforms all across the game right now. The biggest ones, talking to fighters, talking to not promoters, talking to trainers. There's nobody who doesn't see this. I haven't seen nobody who doesn't see this as a great thing happening. And there's still hopes and there's still possibilities of failures. And I understand the concerns of if Turkey falls back, what does that mean? Well, if Turkey falls back, I think that'll be a big deal. I think it'll be a big deal. But when he falls back makes the biggest difference as well. Right? When he falls back. Because if he falls back and the momentum's already been built, you know what I'm saying? And the precedent has already been set, then boxing wins. Right. Because if the precedence is the best fighting the best, if the precedence is the fan base changing over and demanding great fights, not just demanding that their fighters fight anybody, but they actually start screaming for the best fighting the best, then boxing wins. Because no matter how you want to paint it or cut it, the biggest complaint made about boxing today, and it's been for a long time, is the best ain't fighting the best.
Right. And that's exactly, you actually hit the nail right on the head. I mean, is he going to, like you said, is he going to fall back when it becomes everyone else trying to simulate what he's doing and try to bring boxing back to the realm of the gladiator days that we are used to? Or is it going to just continue, you know what I mean, because no one's picking up the pieces and trying to take it and run with the ball, you know what I mean? It's like
100%.
You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. I think he does want other platforms to build, or somebody else to come out and build on what he's starting. He's just trying to start something. He already stated that, you know what I mean, this is what it is. Guys, let's look at it this way. They done took over PGA golf. They done took over F1 racing. They done built casinos. They done did whatever you name. They are making this the biggest tourist attraction and sporting event of most of the, as you say, in the world. They're trying to really bring something huge over to Saudi Arabia, which is already a good tourist attraction, by the way, because I actually found out from a few people that it was really big. That people go there, and besides Mecca and all that stuff, like they really go there because they really have a lot to offer. But at the same time, they're trying to make it so that they're bringing more people, like just casual people, just traveling there, and sports fans and things of that nature. So don't be surprised. I mean, they got soccer teams now, like mega stadium. They just paid what they paid Ronaldo a couple years ago, like a couple $1 billion just to play.
That's
They
a
trying
fact.
to do their thing, man. They trying to do their thing, and don't sleep on it
What
because
they're doing is they're investing a lot into what they believe in right now. And
right,
what you guys are seeing right now as not profitable, you might be misaligning what they're doing, because I don't think right now they're looking for profits as much as you think they are.
right,
Right now, what they're doing is they're setting the trend. They're tilling the earth, right? They're getting the earth fertile and ready to plant seeds for a harvest that's going to come in a season, not this season. There's a tilling of the earth happening right now. You know what I'm saying? And where you guys are looking like, but ain't no money what they doing, because we're impulsive and we're coming from a generation in a time period of instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't see the instant gratification, we automatically jump into what's not profitable, what's not successful, what's not working. We're not looking at the bigger picture. And you know, everybody puts a lot on top of Al Haymon being this Harvard graduate business guy, right? And salute to him, by the way, because I've seen Al Haymon do good business. He's made a lot of money. You know what I mean? He cornered the market for a minute now. For a couple of years now, Al Haymon's been the who's who to
still
do
is.
business with, right?
Yeah, he did. He still is. Listen, I got a lot of respect for
Salute
that.
Charles Edward Cheese. Yeah, a lot. You know what I mean? But I think people sleep on the business training of Turkey. They really sometimes talk about Turkey like he's this dumb dude who's just wasting his money, like some rich little kid who never had to worry about nothing. He's being irresponsible with his money. You know what I'm saying? They don't give him any credit as to actually having a game plan. And, you know, as many times as we've seen PBC look like, you know, especially as of recent times, seeing the PBC looking like, I'm going to say looking like from the outside looking in, and me not being a businessman, just seeing some things that are inconsistent with success or inconsistent with having it all together, like seem like they, but a lot of the PBC fans will quickly check me, let me know that Al Haymon's a businessman, and every time that we sleep on him, he finds a way to come back, and he shows up, and I've had to bend the proverbial knee to a lot of things they said, because when you look at the event, like what happened recently with Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu, that was a great event. I had to bow down and give PBC a lot of credit for what I saw in that event, right? But for some reason, there's a big slumber fest going on Turkey Alashiek's ability to make good business decisions, to have a big picture in mind when he's doing the things he's doing. Time tells these stories better than any of us could ever tell these stories. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean?
It's just stacking it. Like, if you're going to stack the card with great fights, do it right. You know what I mean? Like, give us something that's worth the money, like these guys are doing, and don't have to kill somebody's pocket. Kill fight, you said, is $90 or $88.99, whatever that means.
Yeah, but 2 cents. I think 2 cents is talking to people in the chat.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's definitely dealing with
right?
King.
Okay.
She's dealing with King, and I think she had said something earlier that was pretty cool. What she said, I thought I read it right. I could have read it wrong. It was pretty intense of what she's saying. She actually said, I think that will be exposed is these fighters might not want to fight let me clip it down. Hold on, let me clip it down because I have it up here. I think what will be exposed is that these fighters might not want to fight the best, and the money.
I see it now. I'll pull it up right here on the screen. I see it. Yeah, I think that I think what will be exposed is that these fighters might not want the fight the best, and the money was being used as an excuse. But we will see that too. 2 cents. That as well, man. Right. That is a deep statement right there. You know what I mean? Shout out to 2 cents.
I was trying to understand that. You see me in my deep thought when I had my head like this. I was like,
yeah. Okay. I want to respond to this right here. He said, Claymore, you didn't see the great cards on the PBC of 2023. What are you talking about? Salute, Bradley 68. Right. And yes, you know, and I'm going to be patient with you guys. Right. I'm going to constantly remind you guys what I'm saying so that there's no confusion. Right. I admire Al Haymon and what he's done. You know what I'm saying? And what he's done. I give him a lot of credit for what he's done up to now. Right. But at the end of the day, there's things evolve, things change.
Mm-hmm.
If I say the things I want to say, like they better had a great last year, being that Showtime was rumored to be going out of business. It was imperative for them to have the best year that they ever had, because they were also at that point advertising for work with Amazon for a lot of networks. They wanted to show what they could do. They wanted to show the power that they had in their hand and the ability for them to deliver big fights. And everything needs vested interest, right? Everything needs personal interest and goals being accomplished to be involved in when you're making a move, right? Like right now, if I do something for my wife, I'm doing it with the intentions of obviously making her happy, but also, my rewards. You know what I'm saying? Later, the bigger the attempt, the bigger the conscious attempt to impress her, the bigger my rewards later. So yeah, last year was one of the best years the PBC ever had. You know what I mean? And there's no but on that, except for the fact that they had a reason to do it.
There's a but.
No, there is a but. I know.
There definitely is a but on that, because it wasn't the whole year. First of all, let's just keep it real, because they didn't even announce that they were going out of business until after the Earl fight. And that's when they started stacking the cards up, like after that fight, because their biggest fight already went down with Bud and Earl Spence. Then the cards started getting stacked.
Not to cut you off, but 30 people in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. Please hit those likes. You guys hit the thumbs up while y'all come in the building. Let's get those likes up. I appreciate you guys in advance. Go ahead, Ray. My bad.
Yeah, that's cool. But I was just saying that's when we started seeing these stacked cards at the end of the year of 2024. And then, 2023, excuse me, going into 2024, because they were, like you said, at that point, they started getting the word started getting out on the streets that they're going out of business, and this may be the case. Right. That's what happened. And it wasn't them going out of business, it was Showtime itself. So let me be correct and straight with that. And that's when they were
looking for a new home, that they were going to be looking for a new home.
And that's when you seen all these fighters getting paid. That's when you see all these fighters on these cards. That's when you see these mega cards. And the cards still weren't as deep and dope as the damn cards we're getting now from Turkey Alashiek. Yes, they were good, but they weren't as fire. And I don't care what you say, because like I said, it goes from the heavyweight championship that really ended the year in 2023 and in Saudi Arabia, starting off the year with a bang with what was the fight in Saudi Arabia with Anthony Joshua. So I mean, they constantly building this up, man, and it's not going to change. We just looking at it in the sense of this is our favorite, like you said, this is our favorite what's the name, Clay? Our favorite I don't know why I can't talk right now. It's our favorite network, and our favorite guy, Mr. Al Haymon. So we're gonna rock,
Chris. Hey guys, right quick. What I did was I posted in the channel right here. I posted for our brother Here for Boxing got a channel. He's putting some content out. You know what I mean? Here for Boxing it has a unique mind, right? He got a unique mind, a way of putting things out there. Guys, hit that link and go ahead and sub for sure, man. I just did, and I apologize in advance because I just did now, and I should have been sub. You know what I'm saying? That's my bad. You know what I mean? But I just did. You guys hit that link. It's easy. You can just hit that link and go over there and sub to his channel for sure, man. Salute to Here for Boxing. Go ahead, Ray. My bad.
Yeah, no, we're good. I already established what I needed to say. I just think that we like I said, we just need to stop pinpointing the PBC or Top Rank or any other networks. Well, what's up, Jose, man? Long time, man.
In the building.
Hit you up, man. Oh, I gotta hit you up for Low Man haircut, bro. I gotta hit you up. Let's get that lined up. Fresh pushback.
Thank you for subbing to my guy.
Yeah, Low Man need the LeBron pushback for real. Anyway,
it is what it is, right? But so look, let's talk about it, right? So what's next? Salute Joseph. I'm at Batman. Hey, boxing channel. Salute Joseph. Hey, man, hit the subscription, man. Subscribe to the channel. Help the channel grow, man. I appreciate you showing up. So what's next for these? Let's break it down to a certain degree right now. So what are the biggest? Who are the biggest stars in the chat? Help me out a little bit here. Who are the biggest stars left on that we know are with the PBC right now? I know 2 cents. I know you know. If y'all want to write it down in there, let me know. I'm going to just start off with the biggest one that we're aware of, which is Tank Davis, right? That's the biggest star on. And also, we need to separate it a little bit. Let's be honest, guys. Tank is a Tom Brown fighter. Tom Brown is working with the PBC, but we know Tank has that relationship with Al Haymon, so we'll just keep it simple. We won't go crazy with it. We'll keep it simple and say Tank Davis is the biggest star over at PBC. Who's the next biggest star? Canelo Alvarez. We consider him still okay. Frank Martin for sure.
You got Earl Spence up here.
Earl Spence. Okay.
Frequent flyer.
Frequent Flyer's a PBC fighter? Okay.
Yes, he is.
Who else we got over there, man? David
Benavidez.
Right? We got some up-and-comers possibly, and like, let's say a David Morrell. Could be an up-and-coming, right? David Morrell.
What about the Charlos, even though Jamal just said he might be retiring?
Charlo, for sure. Both the Charlos, too, right?
Fedora. Right? You got Lubin.
Got Isak.
Right. Bivol.
Bivol ain't over there at PBC.
I thought Bivol, not Bivol. No, he not. I thought he matched him.
I don't think he matched him. I think he Queensberry, right?
Same thing.
Or is he matched him?
Same thing.
Okay,
they pretty much fight on the same card, so it's same thing.
Frank Martin's a prospect. Y'all go with the cherry pick. We just trying to find the fighters.
Isak Cruz, you got Isak.
Danny Garcia, man. Okay, Danny Garcia. We got Danny Garcia by Chris.
Yep. Laura. Dude, they got like 300 fighters.
Oh yeah.
They got a lot of fighters.
So
how many stars do
here's
they have? You got Sean Porter. Don't forget Sean Porter.
Sean Porter is listen. All right, so out of these fighters right now, how many of them are we seeing fighting this year, right? We got Tank, we got Canelo, we got Frank, we got David, we had Fundora, we got Isak.
Yeah.
Right?
Broly was robbed and he won his belt back, so he's fighting again.
Yeah, Flyer, we got him. Joseph Batman, face Orange TV, location. Okay, Joseph Batman, are you a troll? We'll keep an eye on you. We'll see what you're doing. We're gonna keep an eye on you. Anyway, I don't know what he got going on. Andy Cruz, okay. Andy Cruz, who's fighting. Okay, we're gonna talk about them all, right? So, what's next for Tank Davis after this fight with Frank Martin? What's his next fight, guys? Well, let me ask this question: what does PBC have planned for Tank Davis after this fight? Does anybody know? Anybody got any ideas of what they got planned for him? Who they plan on putting him against? Maybe. Any questions? Nobody? Dranos? Okay, we don't know. You don't got no ideas, Ray? Nobody?
He said he hoping Shakur. We don't know, man.
Okay, Shakur.
Nobody know. All right, let's
Shakur's not PBC.
Shakur or Devin. Heard Loma yesterday. Could it be Cambosos if he wins?
All right. So far, we got a lot of fighters that are under the zone. We got top ranked fighters. We've got I don't see no PBC fighters yet. You know what I mean? Seems like they building that fight. Okay. So Tank Davis is not fighting. More than likely, Tank Davis won't be fighting a PBC fighter next. Is it safe to say that? I don't know. Everything he's doing here. Joseph, I might have to block you, bro. I don't know what your purpose is and what you're doing, but when I see stuff like this popping up, I don't know why is this happening. What is this face red smiling live volcano green lava? What you doing out there, bro? You know what I'm saying?
I think he's hanging out in the male strip club or something weird.
Something going on over there.
Definitely weird.
But
weird.
But it's safe to say that Tank Davis isn't fighting a PBC fighter. Do they have any left? Yeah. I hear you, Charles Edwards. We're gonna break it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't Pitbull move up? Pitbull moved up, right?
Pitbull went up to 140, but once again, and nobody's speaking about what to make of all these PBC fighters on this matchroom card coming up. Nobody talking about it.
I'm trying to find out who can Tank fight. Oh, they can break. No, they can't do that. Can they bring
Ordinary says Tank can fight Pitbull, Rayo, Montana Love, etc.
Can they bring anybody up for 130?
I don't know who they got. I don't
Clay,
know.
Why are you doing this, Clay? Clay,
listen, I'm just trying to figure it out. Look, okay, fine. So look,
Williams
Tank
Williams and Peter. Isn't he But he's a Golden Boy fighter.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, he's not a PBC fighter. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you want me to say. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so all right, let's leave Tank alone. Let's go into Canelo Alvarez. What do they got planned for Canelo Alvarez next? Who they gonna have him fight next?
Not an American fighter.
Okay, so give me somebody. Maybe a Charlo?
Triple G.
Nah, he's not. We're not doing that again. Is it Charlo? One of the Charlos?
No, we already know
it's
that's
not gonna
not
be.
happening.
It's not gonna be Big Charlo.
I already said that's not happening.
Okay.
I said Jamal wants too much money.
Maybe David Morrell or David Benavidez.
No, they're not risking
those
that.
guys. Okay. J Pitt City says he retires.
Right.
Okay.
I did hear that Caleb Plant trying to get that fight back. He ranked and might even have an interim belt somewhere along the line. So it's a possibility.
Look, Charles, I don't know. We're gonna find out. That's what we're talking about. I don't know, Charles. I don't know. All right, so Canelo not fighting a PBC fighter next, right? We don't see one right now that he's fighting. At least maybe we don't see one yet. Okay. Okay. Now, what about Frank Martin? Who's Frank Martin fighting next after? Let's say he loses. Like everybody thinks he's gonna lose. So let's say he loses. Who does he fight next?
Oh shoot, Andy Cruz.
Nah, Andy doing big things. Andy over there on the matchroom card right now, getting ready to fight against Antonio Moran. So he going to, you know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Who's Errol getting ready to fight?
Ooh. Derek James in the courtroom.
Okay, that's his next fight. Is Derek James a PBC fighter? I don't know. Maybe he is. Derek James working real quick. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But, I mean, anybody? Errol? Maybe Fundora. Fundora is the next fight for Errol Smith.
Lubin.
We'll say who?
Erickson Lubin.
No, Erickson Lubin fights for is he PBC? Maybe he is PBC. Is he?
He's PBC.
Okay, maybe he fights.
No,
maybe he fights Lubin. Maybe he fights Fundora. Errol.
You got a few fighters over there in the 154 division. You got Charlo. You got Lubin. You got what's his name? Start with R. Ramirez, right? Ramirez.
For Frank?
No, for Earl. You want to talk about
Earl?
Right
okay.
Yeah,
oh, you're talking about Jesus Ramirez?
Yeah, it's a lot of PBC fighters in the 154 division.
Okay,
I think that's one of the divisions they got locked down. Like that might in 160. They might be able to make some fights there.
Okay, so 160. If you're a 160 fighter or 154 fighter, PBC is still very it's still a realistic choice for you. You can stay busy over there. Y'all just be in here making Ramos.
Well, he's fighting Derek James right now.
Jesus Ramos, not Ramirez. You're right, Will Big.
Right. Ramos. Thank you.
Right.
What's the name? Ramirez. I can't remember this dude's name, man.
Okay, what about David Benavidez? What they got next for him after this fight? After this fight he's got against Gosvick, whatever his name is. What's next for David Benavidez? Maybe David Morrell? Maybe?
Probably about it. That's every week.
Turkey promised him the winner of Better Be Even Bivol if he was able to get through this fight and get this interim title. I would think he'd go for that before anything. But once again, David Benavidez has communicated the way his contract, quoting David Benavidez, the way his contract is set up, he can't work with those guys. I thought that was an interesting comment he made on Cigar Talk when he said, according to his contract, he can't work with those guys. That was real interesting that he said that. You know, I thought that was a very interesting thing because Turkey definitely put it on the table that the winner between Better Beef and Bivol will be an option for him. But, you know, I don't think he was taking into consideration the contract that David Benavidez had with the PBC. Now, let's keep in mind that David Benavidez, this is supposed to be his last fight in his contract. Last time I heard Jose Benavidez Sr. speak on this topic, he said that there was a 3-fight deal that David Benavidez had just signed. And those 3 fights, that was right before the Caleb Plant fight, right? So that was Caleb, right? That was Boo Boo. And then this next fight coming up right now should be the 3rd fight. He should be getting ready to renew his contract right now, right? So once he's done with this fight right now, he has a decision to make for himself as to whether or not he's going to renew with the PBC and he could have his own personal reasons as to why he want to go over there. But when you look at Al Haymon having open conversations with Turkey and right now putting fighters, including David Morrell, you know what I'm saying, a fighter that they want him to fight, they want him to fight over there on the Matchroom card. We'll see what David does with his decision, right? And David Morrell, who's he gonna fight? He just went to light heavyweight. He's no longer in the middleweight, in the super middleweight division. What do they have planned for him at the light heavyweight? If they don't got nothing for David Benavidez in the light heavyweight division, why are they gonna have anything for David Morrell? And then the Charlo brothers, are they even okay? We skip the Charlo brothers.
Yo, did you scratch the hair with them?
Yeah, just scratch them up. We don't need to talk about them. That's just a dead end street right there. We don't know what's going on with them. And then you got Sebastian Fundora, who just right now is starting to see some light. He got himself a title, and before he got a chance to even heal up his broken nose, they're already talking about taking the WBO off of him, giving him a mandatory with a fighter who is not a PBC fighter in Terrence Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we can do that. We can break down Top Rank in Matchroom.
Yeah, sure. For sure. We could do it all. We could do it all, man. Why not? We got Isak Cruz, who's also on the Matchroom card right now, getting ready to fight Raul Venezuela on the Matchroom card. Big star, one of the biggest stars of the PBC. What do they got planned for him after this fight? And, what do you guys see planned for Isak?
He ain't even fighting, but he's fighting a PBC fighter on another network. So
on a whole nother network, right? So, and
that's
then Danny
crazy.
Garcia, somebody brought Danny Garcia up. He's just, once again, he might be in the Charlo conversation because what's he going to be fighting?
I guess he's 2 years, bro.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's looking at Lara. Maybe they might run that fight. And then you got Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is not a PBC fighter.
He's not a PBC fighter, bro.
Why
I don't know why y'all keep saying that, but I thought you was talking about something else. I was just like, let it ride.
Matchroom like a mug. That's Eddie Hearn's, one of Eddie Hearn's proteges right now. Eddie Hearn got big plans for Andy Cruz. He's right there next to Jerron Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? He's not going nowhere, bro. He's not going nowhere, right? So why did I break all this down, right? And this was just surface level, right? It's just to say that what is PBC planning on doing? Their fighters aren't active.
Oh, our favorite people here. Go ahead, keep going. I got it. I just think
you out of pocket. Now you're getting at the Queen, man. You really out of pocket. Anyway, that was really out of pocket, bro. Yeah. Anyway, right. So what does the PBC have planned for the future? And I think the future they got planned right now is work something out with PBC. Work something out with Turkey. Combine that with the fact that there are rumors out there that Al Haymon's got 1 foot out the door. What does that mean? There are rumors that he has 1 foot out the door, not on life, but just as far as the business of the BBC is concerned. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Al Haymon is a healthy man, doing well, eating well. God bless him. I hope he's in good health. I wish nothing but the best for that man. I'm not talking about that.
He ain't nothing but a brown Max Headroom.
Hold on, let me see here. G-Man. I'm looking for your comment. Okay, boom. G-Man King says Top Rank signed a deal with Paramount Company for the future. Paramount just let PBC go. Wonder why. Oh.
What's up, Sean? Peace.
That's interesting, G-Man. I got to look into that. I didn't even hear about that. And that would be kind of weird because everybody said that Paramount got out of boxing when they bought Showtime because they just didn't want to be in sports, right? They said it had nothing to do with the PBC. They said they got out of all sports. You know what I'm saying? That they just didn't want to be involved in sports. They were going in a complete different direction that didn't involve sports. So if Top Rank is working with the Paramount Company for future fights, and they just let the PBC go, I think that is an interesting question. I think that is an interesting question. Right. You know what I mean? Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Sean in the building. I ain't seen him in a minute, bro. Best life. 2 Cents said, man, I caught that dude on the panel and ran up. Okay. Right. Trolling with his name. I told him I would let people know that's not him for real when I see that troll. When I see the troll. I got you, 2 Cents. Yeah, that dude crazy, man. He been hitting us up. Real Dex, salute Real Dex, salute the Real Dex in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 cents said exactly. That is what yeah, man. I don't know, man. Salute to Minor Man to Moose in the building. Even Floyd post he crossed off Amazon. It's not looking good. I'm hearing rumors that after the Tank and the Frank Martin fight, that Amazon might be, you know what I'm saying, working their way out of that deal a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? They might be confirming, you know, the next year. Don't expect us to be together. So, and you match that with rumors of Turkey and PBC. So listen, guys, the title of the show was Al Haymon sends PBC fighters and their fans to his excellency. Is it time to bend the knee? Time will tell that better than anything else. But I think, once again, just like when I was bringing up questions about what the PBC was doing, that they only had one card, that they did their first card at the end of the first quarter of the year. That was interesting. I'm still asking those questions as well. We know that PBC hasn't been the biggest motivated company in cross promoting and keeping their fighters underneath this, you know what I mean, underneath their banner. What are we looking at happening right now? How do you see it, Ray? I mean, at this point, I mean, let's just be honest about it.
Bro, I already knew what was going on in the works. I got some inside information on certain things, and I'm not going to reveal it because I'm not allowed.
Right. I know the big one too that you've been holding back on too. I know.
Yeah, but yeah, it ain't looking good. I can just tell you that. And you know what I mean, I wish them all the best. And we'll see, people. I think they're going to merge with DAZN. I think they'll find a way to get on the DAZN network. I think that will help the PBC because that'll bring an American market direct to DAZN. And that can be, especially being on an app like that, that might help flourish some of the boxing. Especially that they do a lot of boxing on there because every week they got something going on with boxing. And if they can push it where, you know what I mean, they can even get the fighters already get. How can they already be out the door? They just started the contract.
Be out of the door when the contract starts. I'm not saying, I don't know, 2 cents. I'm not saying that. I'm hearing, we'll see. I'm hearing from sources that, you know, that have access to some people in the space that are saying that there's a chance of it. It's not that we're guaranteeing it's going to happen, but at the end of the day, one thing that is consistent is that they're not happy with the way things are going up right now. You know what I'm saying? Things can change later. You know what I'm saying? Things can change later, but right now it's safe to say that everything's not moving as planned, as they thought it would work out. And the way they're going to deal with it, we'll see. Time will tell the way they deal with it. Right. But there's definitely a lot of understanding that this is not what they planned on happening. No. This is not necessarily working out as well as they thought it was going to work out. So, it's not moving the speed. Y'all saying DAZN won the war? Yeah, I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, Charles Edward?
Put in perspective. Oh, go ahead.
I'm saying boxing is winning the war. That's what I'm saying.
Let's put it in perspective right now. I don't know what I just said last time, but let's put it in perspective. When did Amazon sign? PBC sign Amazon signed PBC to the deal. We all know the date.
Was January something, right? No. Or December something, right?
Correct.
Right.
Why did it take 6 months or 5 months after that date to host their first fight, or whatever it was? 3 months. Was it?
In my opinion, or
was it April or March? What was that first fight? April, right?
Yeah, it was. No, it was March. March 30th or something.
So April, technically April. Right. Okay. So you took the whole whatever to establish one fight, which you knew was not going to sell. So you ended up switching the opponents out to to get the fight to make some type of revenue. And it's still, though it was a great fight, though it was a great card, though I enjoyed it. What did Amazon say? A big loss in the first quarter. It doesn't matter what happens during this quarter or how it works out. That was the only thing they gained from them. And that's not good when you're talking revenue and a company that established themselves as a network having numbers. We got to look at that. That hurt the budget. So everybody keeps saying, what budget? What budget? Listen, how do they not have a budget if they're not on the if they're not there with what's the name? You know what I mean? Like it happens. Like we got to understand that these things are just this is what boxing is. Like we got to keep it there, man. Amazon is not a sports network. Like they have some sports, but it's like Have you really seen them really play sports, have sports on their network besides them having that TV deal where they put certain things in? No. But have we seen them really out there trying to make it happen? Yes. And here's the problem. It's not happening when you have boxing channels or boxing promotional companies that really didn't deliver on what they said. They said 12 to 14 fights. Do you all really believe it's going to be 12 to 14 fights this year on the network of Amazon? Because they only have one so far, and the second one's coming up, and it's damn near half the year. Third one's directly half the year. And then all those fighters on that card, guess where they fighting at next? On Matchroom the next month. That's crazy. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. Yeah, I know they got to deal with the NBA. That's why I said they are working deals with sports. They are bringing sports there. But I'm saying when it comes to boxing, like, they lost a whole year. NBA is not going to lose them money. NBA is going to start their season when they need to start their season. They're going to end their season when they need to end their season. They're going to have Summer League. They're going to have B League and C League and G League. They're going to have all these things. The PBC is not producing that. They gave up a whole first quarter for what? You know what I mean? That's 3 months, 4 months. They could have had fights. Got nothing.
100%. Guys, we got 40 people in the building. Salute to all 40 people. Please hit the likes. Let's get these thumbs up. Let's get the likes up. Let's get it at. Let's get it to match how many people we got in the building. I appreciate you guys in advance. But I agree with you, Ray Davis, 100%, bro. 100%. What you're saying is right on the nail. I mean, we talk about this enough to where it's going to be on the nail. You know what I'm saying? When these points come up, you know, we're weighing out a lot of things, and there's a lot of things we don't even speak on. That we speak privately on that we don't even bring. So we're not going to even, there's a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that we speak on that we won't even bring to the platform just because we want to keep the credibility of the platform to stick to the facts. You know what I'm saying? To stick to the facts. What are you saying right to? Somebody said something official? Yeah,
I'm listening to Sean. I did hear about the Fox thing. I didn't know about the Warner thing. Like, I guess they're going to be on TNT? What was, I don't know. Where the Warner or TBS.
Let me go ahead and pull that up. Let me see what's going on there. See what he's showing us here.
Right. Yeah.
Also on Instagram. I'm gonna read the article because I see it's a long article, but I threw the link in there, by the way. I don't know if Sean, if you want to come up and elaborate on the link that you said.
If him and Ross Scott go on, they got to come up on debate Thursdays. We can't have. I need
right.
Them two some tough combatants right there. They definitely need to come up on debate Thursdays.
Yo, Sean, I put the link up if you want to hit the link up and come up here and build on what this article is about, because I'm not too familiar with what it is and how it affects the sport. Yeah, I haven't read it. I appreciate if you come up here and just build on that.
My question is, it says Associated Press. Who's the reporter?
What is this about, though? What is it about?
According to sources, it says Fox, ESPN, Fox, Warner Bros. And launch new streaming platform. So I guess, well, hold on. Isn't Fox? This is weird because Warner is TBS and TNT, right? And I guess what else does he own? Warner.
Discovery announced plans on Tuesday to launch a sports streaming platform in the fall that will include offerings from at least 15 networks in all 4 major professional sport leagues. One-stop app. So I would think that would impact Top Rank. A one-stop app to view most sports should be a welcome site for fans who continue to navigate rising costs by subscribing multiple services. 3 companies will share their ownership. This new sports service exemplifies our ability as an industry to drive innovation. Platform will include all the way across the board. It includes offerings of 15 linear networks. Subscribers will also have the ability to bundle their product with Disney and Hulu and our Max. We believe the service will provide passionate fans. So is this going to negatively affect boxing? False alarm. It doesn't look like it includes Top Rank. That's what I'm saying, Sean. I don't see it involves boxing. It seems like it's more, okay, so we'll pull it down. Okay, no doubt. So, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying?
It looks like it's going to involve a lot, Clay. It's not just boxing. It looks like it's going to it looks like it's just going to be an app that you're going to be able to get a lot of sources of sports from, including boxing. It's just like this. It's just like a mega app that you can just touch base with all the channels, like almost like a Netflix for sports, or for sports. That's what it looks like. And they're gonna be
Yeah,
able
two
to get all the
cents,
carriers.
2 cents. Hear me, right? Nobody's saying PBC. Well, I'm not saying nobody. People are definitely saying that. I'm not saying PBC is going out of business. I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that they're going out of business. What I am saying though is their business model is going out of business. That their business model now is going to include a lot of cross promotion, and at what cost, I don't know. If they don't change their business model, then the PBC is risking going out of business because their business model is outdated. Right? The business model is outdated. Holding all of the fighters under one banner and making them only fight each other and not allowing them to go across the street and fight. Yes, that business model is failing. And if they don't change it, but it looks like they are going to change it. King, I saw you come up there. I was literally about to pull you up, but I don't know what happened. If they don't change that business model, yeah, they're risking going out of business. They have to change. And the fans of the PBC have to change their mindset on what that looks like and what works and what doesn't work. Because you're going to see, while the fans are speaking about how Turkey's not him and Al Haymon, whoever's running the PBC, is not he's not aligning his thoughts with your thoughts. He's seeing something different. He's actually trying to do business with the guy you're saying is a hype train. Salute, G-Man. King, what's going on, bro? You driving? How you doing?
My son got the B series motor.
Salute.
What's up?
What's
Sound
up,
like
man?
you're running from the cops, man. Go ahead.
Oh man. So yeah, what I was saying was that Top Rank's contract with ESPN, it expires summer of 2025. So they signed a deal with Pluto TV, which is a company of Paramount Global. And Paramount Global just got rid of PBC, right? I mean, there's got to be reasons as to why they did that. So I mean, we'll see how all this stuff plays out. And we're not here criticizing PBC or anything. We're just having a discussion because a lot of these guys were saying, you know, Turkey brings nothing to boxing until he came to the PBC. Al Heyman signed Turkey and signed Eddie Hearn to work to make money with his fighters. Al Heyman is smart and all that. They were trying to push narratives. That's not the point, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to jump up and say that. The only reason we're talking about this is because people were pushing false narratives after they switched up on Turkey. Because, they talked a bunch of shit about dude until he's putting PBC fights on or fighters on big cards. So they just switched up. That's my problem with that whole situation, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. It's been an uphill battle for people to understand that what the reason we were supporting Turkey, and the reason that a lot of people were supporting Turkey was for the idea of the betterment of the sport, not for the destruction of the sport. And they really aligned those thoughts that we had with how good Turkey could be for the sport with us selling out somehow, or us pushing false narratives, or us, you know what I'm saying? Us not doing anything positive for the sport. Meanwhile, one of the most positive things that could happen for the sport, a sport that's losing a lot of credibility in a lot of different ways, is for somebody like a Turkey Alashiek to come along and facilitate a way for the best to fight the best. So I understand exactly.
100%.
And it doesn't matter how long this lasts. We'll take it however long it lasts because we're getting the big fights right now. Boxing has not. I haven't seen boxing this exciting in the past couple of years as it is right now. We just had the Spence Crawford fight last year, but that's really about it. I mean, and then Tank and Ryan Garcia, which was a big fight for the casuals. I mean, I don't know if I was looking into it too much myself.
That's a good point, because that's actually what boxing actually generates its money, King, is from the casuals.
Right. So,
it's actually a new word for that now. We're going to call them the fandoms of boxing, because without the fandoms of boxing, we won't have anybody up here polluting pushing narratives. We have these things because people are fans and they like to have some opinions, which is nothing wrong with that. But then when it comes to bringing these fights out, we need the fandom to actually come back and buy these fights. We need to bring the stakes back up. You know what I mean? Or the casuals, as you would say. They're not buying the fights because they don't see the interest. And when you start getting these big fights and they're like, oh, who's this guy? Who's that? I heard there's a big fight coming on. They go to the bar and they see something like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Groupies. There you go. PBC groupies. You funny, Jose.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like, we want to see these fights become bigger and bigger and grow. And it's going to happen everywhere. Brother's on. There he is.
Salute, Sean. Salute.
But no, I understand what it is, and we got to understand how big a casual to a fan of boxing really is. It's a huge difference. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
we got too many people. Like I said, the narratives get pushed. What's up, Inevitable D Block, Downtown D City, D-ville, Baltimore? Thanks. What's good, brother?
Thanks. You know what I'm saying? Salute, Sean. What's good, family? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear,
we hear you clear, brother.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got my headphones on and everything. Well, a couple things I want to throw out there from what King was saying about Pluto. So Pluto is a division of Paramount Plus, and when Paramount Plus got rid of the PBC, they got rid of the whole sports catalog and shut down Showtime as well. So it's not singling out the PBC. That's what's got to be clear there. So they got rid of the PBC, they got rid of Bellator MMA, and also that Up in Smoke, or was it Up in Smoke? All the Smoke, excuse me. That podcast that was on it, it was real popular with
Steve Jackson
Steven Jackson. You're right. That's gone too. Now they do their own streaming thing on YouTube, right? And so Pluto is its own separate division, and they now I don't know if you guys remember this, but last NFL playoffs, they started streaming some playoff games, NFL playoff games.
Right.
So it's almost like that's probably Paramount's way of still having a finger in sports, to a degree. So I just wanted to clarify that. And then I want to defend the PBC on something. So when it comes to being willing to make cross-promotional fights, I think usually it's the PBC that is willing to do it. And I can give you examples. Tank and Ryan was an example. Wilder Fury is an example. Shakur and Edwin De Los Santos is an example. Stephen Coolboy and Monster Anyway is an example. Who else is doing it? No one else is doing it. So people just like to say that, but they don't have the facts to back it up. Whenever Bob Arum is asked about fighting a PBC fighter, he always is the one that poo-poos it. Whenever Tank's name gets thrown in there, he's always the one that says, no, we don't got to make that fight. Now, if I'm just being completely honest, the actual promoters that I think is most likely to do a promotional fight, I think is Eddie Hearn as well as the PBC. And I think Golden Boy is starting to come around to this, and just by what they're doing now, putting Virgil Ortiz against Tim Tszyu. And again, another PBC example. So I don't agree. I can't agree with the PBC that the PBC isn't, willing to make cross promotional fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and you know what? Honestly, Sean, I definitely respect it. I do know of examples of them making it happen, right? But also there's always been, and I don't know if it's the PBC as much as it is the fan bases. Maybe I don't know. You know what I'm saying, where it comes from necessarily, but I would say that there's been fights in back in the day, like when you look at the way Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence panned out, right, and how long it took for them to put that fight together. That this whole entire, and it's not just the PBC, by the way. It's not just the PBC. I'm glad you brought up Bob Arum. It's American style boxing promoting, right? That they don't want to cross the street. They don't want to put these fights together. And Turkey just seems to be the guy who seems to be coming in to bridge that. You know what I'm saying? He seems to be coming in there to bridge that, to facilitate a space to where these fights can start to happen. So it's not about that. It focuses on the PBC because of the fan bases. You know what I'm saying? This is the same way like they focus on Devin, but it's really Bill. If that makes any sense. Like it's not really Devin, it's Bill. Right. So it's the fan bases that seem to be attacking the idea of what Turkey brings to the table. You know what I mean? Like they're attacking it. I don't know if you would co-sign or see that, or if you've been seeing that, but there's been a certain hatred and a real, like, you know what I mean, indifference with the idea of Turkey coming into boxing and breaking and discrediting his ability or his intentions in the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think originally when he first burst on the scene, you know, like with Day of Reckoning, there was a lot of people like, I don't know about this, right? Like it was 50-50. There were people that were like, hey, I don't like this, and then there's other people like, hey, I don't care, I just want to see the fight. But I think now with this card that he's putting together, with Bivol and Peterbiev, and then the one with Crawford and Madrimov, I think that is what is turning them around, because more specifically the card with Terrence Crawford, because that one's in the States. And then the other thing is too, because admittedly, I don't know that I like myself that some of these fights are on in the middle of the day, right? Like I'd prefer an earlier fight card and, you know, a main card starting at 9 or 10 o'clock. I'd rather something that started at 7 or 8. Because I mean, my ass, I'll fall asleep sometimes trying to watch, you know, a fight. Sometimes, you know, if I don't prepare accordingly. But I can tell you this truthfully, my concern originally when Turkey got into it is I thought he was going to cause inflation in boxing, because we already have these instances where people say, oh, well, this guy lowballed me, or they're not offering me enough to make this fight, so I'm not making this fight, right? I thought he was going to come in there and artificially inflate the salaries of everybody, and then now it make it even harder to make fights unless he's putting it on. Almost like the best example I can give you would be like if you give your dog table food, right? You keep giving him table food. After a while, you try to give him his dry dog food. He's gonna look at you like, nah, dude, where the bacon at? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking that's what I thought that he would be doing the same. But however these two cards play out, he might actually be a good thing for boxing.
Now, let me ask you this though: you don't think that the PBC was overpaying fighters?
Well, the thing is with the PBC, remember you get paid what you weigh. So if you on pay-per-view and you bringing in the money, it's almost like sales. Like if I'm selling all these cars, you can't give me a little old bitty salary if I'm bringing in that much revenue. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to do that. So they just have a different, you know, model when it comes to that. So I really, to be honest with you, I think what boxing needs more younger innovation at the top. You got a lot of younger folks that or older guys that are running things that I think are resilient to change. I think if you had younger people that are willing to take some chances and experiment with some things and pilot some different things, I think that's what you need, because the reality of it is if we got to a place to where more fights took place, more fights and more matchups that we want to see took place, boxing could be back on top again. Because the reality of it is, I'm someone that watches both MMA and boxing.
Me too.
The grappling aspect of MMA is an acquired taste. I don't mind watching grappling, but I know the average person doesn't. The average person, you know, when they go to the ground, they want them to get stood up and then to fight on the feet.
Right.
Boxing is all nonstop action on the feet. So if we can get the matchups that we want and get fights where, you know, and start stacking cards actually too, where, you know, we don't just invest in the main event, you know, have some good fights in there to where, you know, in the lead up to the main event, you got some good fights so that if the main event don't deliver, you don't feel like you wasted your $80. You know what I mean?
Could I respond to something that was said earlier? That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
King.
Yeah. So, Sean, you said something about, you know, you really started to mess with. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mess with the PBC when they put on this Crawford card and the Beterbiev card. Is that correct? Or with Turkey? Is that when you started really liking what he was doing?
Well, Terrence and Madrimov,
right?
Yeah. I was just saying, my initial fear was that he was going to cause inflation in boxing by overpaying a lot of people to get them in the ring, you know, not based off of their sales. And so ultimately, if Turkey, let's say a fighter normally gets paid $2 million a fight, and then Turkey's saying, hey, I'll pay you $7 million, I'll pay you $10 million a fight.
I mean, it's gonna cause inflation, that's for sure. But what what we were trying to say, I believe, is that some of the PBC fans, they were not messing with Turkey and the fights that he was putting on, like the Day of Reckoning when Deontay Wilder fought and Anthony Joshua fought. Tyson Fury versus Ngannou. When Joshua fought Ngannou, there was a lot of good fights, a lot of good heavyweight fights, but they were not messing with them at all until he comes and signs some fighters from the PBC to fight on a matchroom card and work with Al Heyman. Now all of a sudden, yes, Turkey's good for boxing. Turkey, you know what? I might actually like working with Turkey. That's because now you're working with the PBC. So a lot of fans kind of flip the narrative. I think that's what we're trying to say. He was making good fights from before. Yes, it's going to cause inflation. He's going to pay fighters a lot of money because he's got a lot of money. I understand that. But our whole thing is that now people are switching the narrative because he's over to the PBC side. And I know you said that it's over in the LA in LA for this Crawford Madrimov card, but boxing is a global sport. If he's paying for the money, why shouldn't he have it in Saudi Arabia? He's paying a premium for it. Boxing is watched all over Europe and Asia, everywhere. Yes, USA is where the money is at, but boxing is a global sport, and the money's being put up front by a guy who has a lot of money.
Wow.
Now, I mean, that's a fair point. However, the one thing I will say is for me, it wasn't about necessarily that it's PBC fighters involved. I think realistically, if Turkey Alashiek wants to maximize his impact on boxing, he would work with all of the promotional companies versus singling out just the PBC or, just matchroom fighters or, Top Rank or Golden Boy or, any other small fringe promotional company. But really, my main concern is I just really didn't want that to happen. And then if we're being honest too, with the Day of Reckoning, it was a cool card, but I mean, leading into it, I was like, it's a lot of good names, but it's a bunch of showcase fights. Like I wanted to see a different combination of those fights. Like there was a bunch of people that I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought should be fighting each other versus the opponents that they had on the cards. You know what I mean? Mm. Like I wouldn't y'all have rather seen Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua versus, Deontay Wilder fighting Joseph Parker?
Mm.
Right.
So
I think that there was a buildup, you know what I mean, that was happening with that card. That's all. You know what I mean? I just think they were building up fights and they wanted the fights to kind of build it back up to the hunger that was there to see the fights, right? So we're going to put this guy on this card and we're going to put this guy on this card. We're going to have them, the winners, almost like having them earn the fights a little bit,
like
so the fans would be a little more, like a tournament, to have like a little bit more vested interest in the growth of what's going on. I mean, there's just steps to the whole entire thing. You know what I mean? For me personally, the Day of Reckoning wasn't that the fact that the card was so great as much as the matchmaking, the art of matchmaking started to take place that I start to appreciate. Even with this card coming in August 3rd, with Terrence Crawford and Madrimov headlining it, you can see the development of matchmaking becoming important again, and heavy matchmaking getting done on one card, if that makes any sense, right? Heavy, like, this fight is going to be exciting because we both know when we see Isak and Ryo come in the ring, there's no story behind that. It's just the matchmaking is done so well. Bringing up Ryo up there to 140, having him fight Isak. We know that those are two exciting fighters. Virgil Ortiz and Tim Tszyu, exciting fights. Who would have ever thought they would have put that together? Nobody was asking for that fight. But the matchmaking, you can tell that it was a conscious thought in the matchmaking for the fans. Like, we think the fans are going to enjoy this fight. This is going to be a great fight for the fans. Even with Big Baby Miller and Andy Ruiz, where did that come from? Right? Like, these guys don't have no type of smoke. They don't. We never seen it coming. But that's it. When you think about it, when you sit back and you think about it, you're like, damn, that fight's probably going to be crazy. You know what I'm saying? With the way both those guys fight. So you could tell that the fans were taken into consideration with the way these cards are stacked. And I think that's what's impressive about what Turkey's bringing to the game right now, is that matchmaking, not necessarily putting the biggest stars against the biggest stars. Maybe they're not able to give us David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez. Maybe they're not able to give us Terrence Crawford versus Jerome Boots Ennis. Maybe they're not able to give us those big, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Devin Haney. Maybe that's not something they're able to facilitate right now because they got to negotiate that with the fighters. But you can see the trajectory of their thought process, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And I think for me, that's what turned me around is the matchmaking. That is a big, key point, right? So for me, if you're somebody that can't appreciate or like the two upcoming cards, you're nothing but a hater. You know what I mean? Like you have to, or like maybe you're a casual and don't really know who these guys are, but anybody that even follows boxing halfway can see that both of these cards are amazing. You know what I mean? These are two cards that people might be talking about for a long time. So for me, if you were somebody that was very skeptical or didn't like Turkey Alashiek's presence initially, you gotta appreciate these, if anything, just for the cards, even if it does inflate a little bit, because these are excellent cards.
Right. It's time to accept Turkey, man. And that's what the whole title to this segment tonight was Haymon sends PBC fighters and their fans to his Excellency. It's time to bend the knee. And it's not for PBC to bend the knee. It's time for all the naysayers to just accept accept the quality that he's bringing to the table. If that makes any sense, once again, stop hating on this man. It don't make no sense. He's only trying to make the sport better.
Right.
Yes, there's some inflation that might be coming in there. And, nothing is perfect. You know what I'm saying? But as a fan, I'm saying let the business care about the business and deal with the business. As a fan, this is a great thing happening. The possibilities are really good. When you look across the whole space, when you're talking about the boxing analysts in the game, you're talking about the trainers, you talk about the boxers themselves, all of them see it as one thing. They're like, man, that sounds good to me. I'm trying to get into that. I'm trying to get involved with that. What? That's going to make boxing great again. All the people who are talking about the weaknesses of boxing, Turkey's bringing potential Band-Aids. You know what I'm saying? Potential antibiotics to the game, to heal the game and bring the game back to into a space that I'm very eager and hungry to see the game come back into, because I really believe the casual fan base doesn't know about what that feels like. They don't know about the best fighting the best like that. They think they do, but they don't. Because when I hear people say things like, I don't care who Gervonta Davis fights next, I just want to see him fight. When I hear things like that, I hear you don't know how that feels yet. You haven't seen enough of those kind of fights to really understand how great it would be to see Gervonta fight Devin, actually, or to see Gervonta fight Shakur, or to see Gervonta, you know what I'm saying? If you did, you wouldn't just want to see him fight. You want to see him fight somebody. There's somebody I want to see Gervonta Tank Davis fight, damn it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with that.
I want to see him with Abner Mares, man.
I think
you trolling now.
All right. So at the end of the day, I don't even know what King talking about. Listen, at the end of the day, well, King actually did say something important, man. We have to recognize that as a fan base, boxing is global. It's not just here. It's not just in Europe. So when we're looking at these fights going on, we can't just look at it and speculate that, like a Dubaz or a gentleman from Japan or Korea or Brazil, these guys aren't fighting. They're fighting too. You know what I mean? Argentina. They're coming up here and they fighting just as well, whether they fight here or somewhere else. And all these guys are going to get their their time to showcase. And as we see these things grow, we just don't hear about the fighters because they're fighting. Like an Argentina fighter might be fighting in Australia. They might not be fighting here. So when we see what King just brought up, the casual fan base may not be recognizing these guys as they much do, as Clay also mentioned, Tank Davis. So when we got global fighters coming into the picture, that changes things and that gives a different perspective because everyone likes a good fight. And when we start getting these things happening like this, that's when it becomes a problem. Now, as far as what Clay just mentioned about the Turkey Alashiek and how he's trying to bring and establish boxing for what it needs to be, bro, it is what it is. Let's get it popping, man. Let's stop worrying about whose team we playing for. And let's just be on boxing's team and let's just have it go around that way. Because if we keep doing it the other way, we're just gonna sit here. We're gonna be just keep kicking each other back and over some casual business. It ain't even that serious.
Yeah, I mean, I just seen a lot of bridges getting burned in the game. I see people really just saying that's really being foul to each other over things. It's just like it's like intensely amazing to me. Like, yo, you guys really taking this personal. Like, bro, let's get these fights, bro, by any means necessary. let's get these damn fights, bro. Like, I want to see these fights, man. We could talk about the business, we can have fun and everything like that. But when you guys are chopping each other's heads off over another man's bank account or another company's, you know what I'm saying? It gets weird. It gets awkward out here in these YouTube streets.
Even in my case, Clay, even talk about another man, how another man outweighed another fighter. Like, you know what I mean? Those are crazy things too. And that goes for both Devin, that goes for Tank, that goes for Ryan, that goes for Earl, that goes for all of them. You know what I mean? All that stuff is they're just not topics that we should be talking about when it comes to boxing. We get it when we get it when there's a fight that has happened and things have brought certain factors in. That's different when we're breaking down fights. But when it comes to actually why this fight is not happening and those are the reason why these fights are not happening, that is a problem. This guy don't bring enough money to the fight. Bro, everybody and their mama wanted to see Devin and Tank fight. And I don't care who it is. And they said the money ain't right. If you wanted to see the fight, the money will be right. It don't matter. Because sure as hell, they tried to say Hector Garcia made more money than Devin. And that nigga, that dude ain't never fight one day. Yeah, you know I was about to go. He ain't fight one day on pay-per-view because Freak gonna tell me language. I don't like to cuss, but one day, bro, or even use foul words. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and 2 cents. You're right, man. Listen, I've been saying that already. As far as Crawford and Boots is concerned, with Turkey in the conversation, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's no reason for it not to happen. I mean, yeah, if it don't happen, I'm calling Crawford out on it. I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I'm 100% calling Crawford out for it because the only reason it made sense for them not to fight was Crawford's whole entire story about getting the money, about finding somebody to pay for the fight. Even like Bernie the Boxer said it. You know what I'm saying? You want to see the fight, get somebody to pay for the fight. Well, if Turkey's willing to pay for the fight, we ain't trying to hear no more excuses. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, Crawford is also in a situation right now where he has options to potentially chase some undisputed status. You know what I'm saying? At 154. We're gonna respect that. I think if Boots wants to get in the conversation of fighting Crawford, he also needs to take consideration to go to 154 to make the fight happen. I don't think he should expect Crawford to come down to 147 to make that fight happen. It'd be great to put all those belts to be on the line, and I understand the magnitude of what that fight would be, but at the same time, the fight don't have to happen at 147, and Boots himself can chase undisputed at 154 as well by beating Crawford, who's right there putting himself in position to be a unified champion in that division. But yeah, man, no discussions about it. If Crawford ducks Boots at this point, where the money's there, but he just ain't willing to make the fight happen, we're gonna have to call a spade a spade. They're walking like a duck and quacking like a duck. You know what I mean? We're gonna call it a duck.
All right. Anyway, we got a special guest waiting for you, Clay.
Oh, do we?
Hey,
my bad. Hold on.
Real quick, and then I'm gonna hop off. I just wanted to address one of the things about the whole global sports thing, right? So it's all cool to say, but remember, at the end of the day, the U.S. is one of the few that's paying the full price on pay-per-views versus all these other countries. Some of them not getting charged anything. So where's all the money for for these companies to continue to do what they do and run operations? It's coming from America because we're the one that's having to pay the full price for everything. Whereas some of these countries aren't paying the full price for pay-per-views, or better yet, even having to pay anything for pay-per-views. So we can't discount America, even though it's a global sport, because it's riding off of the U.S.'s back. And I'm not trying to be, MAGA Sean, but it just is what it is when it comes to, that situation, when it comes to the money.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Let's look at it in another perspective. And I agree with you for the most part. But when you talk about when there wasn't times where they didn't have pay-per-view, how are fighters making over $1 million a fight? How are fighters making, I'm talking about all the way back to Ali. They were making millions of dollars back then. And these fights happened because of the fans. These fights happened because of worldwide revenue. It wasn't just the United States. These guys wanted to see them fight. Ratings made a difference back then. Now it's all about what we are bringing to, like you said, America is all about capitalism. They're capitalizing on the bank. The networks are making this money. We're not seeing it. And the networks are making so much money that they're able to pay a PBC, a Top Rank, or DAZN can pay somebody to pay their fighters, and they can pay their cards, and they're still walking out of there with quadruple the amount of money of what they're feasting off of. So I mean, the other fight, I'm sorry, the promotional companies are feasting off of. So we have to really look at it at that point of what we're not really seeing behind the scenes. That's why they're able to do that overseas in other countries. They just look at this as, look, we're gonna get some of that American capital. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna still get our money over here in Europe. And if I'm not mistaken, we had Echo come on here showing also and say that they still pay for fights. He said, "Don't believe the hype, man." He said they still pay for DAZN. They still pay for those fights. He said,
Yeah,
"Yep."
they have DAZN
Well,
subscription.
hold on a second, guys. Wait.
Oh,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to pull in Rachel Donez in the
Yes.
building.
What's up, Rachel?
No, you guys are hitting me on a Taco Tuesday. But I can't see who the gentleman was talking to that's on my right.
Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
But he has a point. Like, you guys have to understand, like, okay, so who's Canelo's biggest, I mean, okay, besides the American fan base, who is his biggest consumer base? Mexico, right? And in Mexico, before this deal was made, that the streams in Mexico are absolutely free. Sorry, my kids are showering and they're screaming.
They're having a
But
good time over there.
but so there's an offset as far as when you allow other countries to take the brunt hit and not charge the other countries. We have to carry it on our back. And like things like I think it was the last card. I think it was Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. I got screenshots from the Philippines, and they were paying like $13 for the fight. So when the balance scales come out, like and we start to calculate like who's carrying it, and if the American consumer base is carrying the weight of the purses, the guaranteed purses, and the back end for these fighters, then it starts to be a conversation of how much power do we have, because it seems to me that we do have a lot of power. If Canelo is playing the game based on the fact that all of Mexico does not have to pay a single pay-per-view, it's free to all of Mexico, and yet we're paying how much? And then and the gate is how much?
$88.99.
But Canelo wanted it to be free on Mexico TV. That's one of the things he's been vouching for.
That's
Is
what I'm
that
saying.
correct?
Yeah, no, he signed that I think like 2 or 3 months ago. Like that was his big announcement, right? That his fights are going to be continued to be free on Mexican television. But the thing is when you're looking at that consumer base and you're like, okay, well, so they're not going to pay that. Who is going to end up paying? Because there's no such thing as a free lunch. And we
Right.
hear it all the time when we talk to the European guys. They're like, oh, well, DAZN's pay-per-view is only this much here, and we're like, what the hell? Why are we getting the brunt? Why are we paying full, like not even full dollar, 2 to 3 times more than you guys are paying to air the fights that you guys want to be seen, but we're the ones that are taking the brunt end of this.
Big facts, Rachel. I think that's really interesting because I'm gonna be honest with you, right? And as you're talking about it, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about Joe Biden and the whole entire college, the reimbursement thing with the college thing, with pretty much passing off the cost of people's college debt to the tax-paying citizens of the country, right? When people think that they're just gonna take this debt and make it just disappear. No, it's going to go somewhere because these colleges are not going to not get paid. And I bring it back full circle to the boxing to say that when you hear something like that, $13 in a country or even for free all around the world, where do you think that cost is going to get put off on? It gets put off on us. We gotta absorb it. We gotta make it make sense for these fighters, for these fighters to fight. We're the ones paying for it. So it never goes nowhere. These fighters are making their money. It never just disappears. It's coming from somewhere.
Yes. Also, I think the money, correct me if I'm wrong, comes from the TV rights from those countries. And if they're
But
paying $13 in the Philippines, there's 205 other countries as well. So if on average each country is paying $10 pay per view, that's still bringing in more than the U.S. might. I'm just giving an hypothetical. But yes, we understand that the U.S. is the main market. But there's 205 other countries in the world. If every country is paying $10 or $5 for a pay per view, all that stuff will add up as well. But yes, I agree. The United States is the big market.
that's kind of where I was going with actually, what King was saying. I know I was a little off topic, and I actually understand more what Sean was saying after Rachel broke it down. So that actually makes more sense to me. And Sean, I apologize for not totally understanding you. Thank you, Rachel, for breaking that down. Um, that makes a lot of sense now. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, King has a good point too. So I mean, I guess if you're looking at the ratio wise, to who's buying the fight, because I think boxing is actually even more intense in other countries, because it is a global sport, and I think they are making these fights over there, and they're probably doing more pay per views instead of streaming the fights illegally and things of that nature, like they are in the U.S. and Canada. So that could be a good point that King just made too. But I still think that we, like Rachel and Sean were saying, that we are the capitalism of the United States does control the boxing narrative.
I think it was Lomachenko versus Devin Haney. It was in June. We were still in the Philippines, and we were watching the fight. Guess what? It was free on YouTube for Philippines. And I don't know what other European country, but there was another European country that it was like, they're like, okay, so on these countries, it's streamed on YouTube for free. And we watched it for free on YouTube. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the crazy part. Like, I don't know how they decipher, like, hey, we're just going to give it free to some of these countries. Some of them will pay, well, they'll have to pay $5. The other ones they'll have to pay 20. And then the US is going to have to take the brunt and make the balancing scale for it to make sense for everything. So to ever say that the US market doesn't have a voice or a decision on who we're going to pay for is undervalued, because we're paying the goddamn most.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless it's
Yeah.
Monster Inoue. Is
What do you
that
mean?
correct?
What do you mean?
Because is Monster Inoue just sold out 55,000 in tickets in the Tokyo Dome, and he's getting his money from Japan. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, so Monster Nue, his primary promoter is Ohashi Promotions, and then Tekken Promotions, and then anything he steps outside of Japan makes it
No,
a
Charles.
co-promoter top rank. So, I mean, like, people are saying a lot of the times, like, Monster needs to come out of Japan, but if you're taking 100%, or not 100%, of course, the profit margin with the promoters over there in Japan. Um, and not having to cut that at any slice of the pie to top rank, why would you step out of Japan? I mean, like, Nonito versus Inoue, the second one was 2,500 for ringside tickets.
Rachel, if we, I just want to bring it full circle because Charles Edward Cheese has a question, and I think Frequent Flyer does too. So they said, "Wait, what are y'all talking about? Y'all saying we mad at that the fights are being made in Saudi, or are we mad that we're paying $88?"
I don't think I'm not mad at it, because at the end of the day, like, if I'm a boxing fan, I'm going to pay what I'm going to pay. I have to. I think we talked about it here before. I have to make a conscious decision on not just the main card, but the co-main and the undercard for me to pay $88 to watch a fight, right? I'm not really hyped about Jaime Munguia. So for me, there's levels. One level is I'm super hyped. I'm going to the fight and I'm paying top dollar to go to the fight, right? Second is I'm going to stream it in my house by myself. I'm paying the dollars. The third is I'm going to go to a friend's house that's having a fight party and I don't have to pay anything and I'm just showing up. This fight is actually third tier. I'm going to a friend's house. They're streaming it. So I'm just going to, like, tag along and watch it. But the thing is at the end of the day, it's the fact is that if we have so much of a say in the fights that we want to pay for, the ones that we are willing to pay top dollar for, because we are paying top dollar worldwide, then we should literally have a say and have it reflect, because none of the rest of the world is paying what we're paying to get these fights to be made where the fighter is happy to take their purse and their back end money.
That makes
Good
sense.
point. Good
Makes sense.
point.
Yeah.
Great point.
That was
Great
that. So
point.
that was essentially where I was going. And Rachel, I appreciate you essentially hammering it home with the real anecdotal examples. So it's like for me, it's like if we're going to be paying the money, like Rachel was saying, I'd rather you give us put on these fights in the hours, and better hours that are conducive to us, since we are paying the heavier portion, of this, right? It's almost like the way a publicly traded company operates, right? Whoever has the most shares after you get a certain percentage of all of the shares that are out there has more of a controlling interest in the company, right? The same deal here. We're paying all this money into the pay-per-view pot. We should have a bit more say. And so for me, one of the bigger influences is where the fight's going to be. I prefer it to be in the States so that the hours are more conducive as to when I want to view the fights.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like if we have the voting
Yeah.
power, I'm using air quotes, because we're paying the most. Like if we look at it as stockholders and how much we're paying versus the rest of the world to create these events, then we should have a say on who is actually going, like, we have to come together as consumers to not just buy like any fights that they give us and be like, okay, well, listen, we're willing to buy these fights for this amount, but we're willing to pay top dollar if the card is good. And it has to be a metric thing to show that if we're gonna pay for this if you make this. But if not, then we're really, people stream it and we're not really going to give a shit. We're not going to go to the fights. It doesn't matter, because it's just a bullshit card. Like, we didn't ask for this, so why are you giving it to us? You're shoving it down our throat, but you're asking us to pay close to $90. But I didn't ask for this damn fight.
Right. I
Yeah,
agree
big.
with that.
I mean, I couldn't agree with that even, like that. I 100% agree with that. And that's what it comes down to as far as, saying that you just want to see your fighter fight. No, it's not just that. You want to see your fighter fight somebody. You know what I mean? You should want to see your fighter fight somebody because you're paying top dollar for it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna pay top dollar for it, it should be somebody that you want to see fight. And if you don't have nobody you want to see your fighter fight, then I advise you to watch more boxing. You know what I'm saying? Watch more boxing and see what's really out there, and and find somebody for your fighter to fight, because they're gonna charge you top dollar to see your fighter fight. And just to see him paid all that money just to see him knock out somebody who he's going to knock out before the fight, even before the first bell rings off, you're gypping yourself. It's your own
Right.
pockets is getting tapped.
Right. And that's crazy, because people do pay for knockouts, like early knockouts. People do. They don't pay for good fights. They don't pay for contests. They pay for the dominance of a fight. And sometimes that's a little like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what word to use. Discouraging when you
Well,
purchase
you
something like
should.
that.
You're cutting your nose. You're cutting your nose off to spite your
Spite
face.
your
You know what I'm
face,
saying?
right? Right.
Yeah, you're playing a game where you're burning the candle on both sides. You think you're being smart and you're playing this game, but you're the one who's getting hurt at the end of the day.
Right.
It just ain't hit you yet, but it will eventually when you see, like, when you're making these decisions to not buy pay-per-views because they're not worth it, and you're not wrapping your mind around the fact that you created this monster because you've been buying pay-per-views that haven't been worth it. You've been doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think Turkey brings to the table, is the ability to change that a little bit, to put the pressure on. Okay, we don't mind paying you. We're going to pay you the top dollar, but you're going to fight competitive fights. You're going to fight fighters that we want to see you fight. Not this whole entire, you just fight whoever you feel like fighting, but you still have no problem asking us for $90 for the fight. That's not going to work.
Right.
And eventually I'm hoping that's what ends up changing in this space.
Well, no, that's exactly like what it is, right? Like, it's, you have to show up for a fight that we want, right? Not just because you want to fight one of the top 10, top 20, or someone who we never asked for, and then you're like, oh well, you guys should pay, 90. I mean, shoot, we're starting to skyrocket to 99. We're getting closer to that limit right now. You know, and before it wasn't that. Like we were around 59s, and now we're getting closer to the 99 thing. But it's more so the fact that, like, okay, well, so what is worth your money and time? Like that's how I always look at it. If I'm going to go to a fight, I'm going to go for at least the last four. Those last four better be worth me going, like getting ready, going into an Uber because I'm not driving home after I drink, going for the drinks that are way too damn overpriced, and then fighting through the crowd and all this other BS. Like you have to make it worth my while. And would I pay for Benavides versus Canelo? 100%. So the thing is that with Turkey saying, okay, these are the fights you guys want. If I make them, will you pay? Because that's a little balance. Like, and that's his risk. It's if the fight's actually going to pay, if we're going to buy it, if we're not going to stream it, if we're not going to go to the fight, all these other things considered, if he puts the money on the table, are the fights still going to get made? And if they are, I would buy. Benavides versus Canelo, I'll pay $200. I don't care. I'm good. Would I go to the fight? I would actually want to go to the fight. So if these are the hurdles that create boxers to actually want to fight the guys that we want them to fight, I mean, we kind of created this whole environment at this point. Like we let things marinate so much that we're willing to pay overpriced or top dollar for fights that should have been made 3 to 5 years ago. And we're just going to keep pushing this envelope when it comes to, supply and demand.
I agree with you 100%. We got a lot of questions that popped up in a chat as this conversation has been developing. Let me see. I'm going to pick one here that I thought was pretty interesting. The activity gives you a chance. For me, like showbiz fighter list, I just want more activity. Yeah, Charles Edward Cheese is basically speaking towards what I've been saying from the beginning of the year: activity, activity, activity. Right? These fighters haven't really been. Well, let's read it here. Let's just see this. Right? It says. He says, for me, like showbiz fighters list, I just want more activity. We just want these fighters to fight more. The best for the best tend to be
bored.
Right. But 2 Cents also said something as well about Crawford. Is this a fight? 2 Cents, you just keep on. I have a feeling you pushing a narrative. But with Terrence Crawford, the difference is he's the kind of fighter where you just want to see him fight at this point because he's been sitting out so long.
Right.
Seeing him fight for a championship, it's a setup for the bigger show. It is a setup for the bigger fight. When you see them set up Terrence Crawford to fight Ismail Madrimov, it's not that everybody wants to see him fight Ismail Madrimov. It's that they want to see him run for undisputed, to unify, to potentially fight an Errol Spence or fight a Boots Ennis, or potentially put something on the line, give him titles so that he can defend something against great fighters. So it's chess, not checkers out here, right? It's not always what you see. It's not we're instant gratification human beings, right? We just want it now. And we don't see the bigger picture. We don't know the difference between something being built up and us being given expired baby food to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see right now you see Tank getting ready to fight Frank Martin. That's a buildup, right? Beat Frank Martin. Next fight, who? Maybe Shakur, maybe Teofimo, maybe Lomachenko, like all these other fights that can come off of it, considering that he's been on this huge layoff. So at the end of the day, it's chess, not checkers. We got to pay attention to what we're looking at to see if it makes sense or if it doesn't make sense. That Madrimov card with Terrence Crawford and Madrimov fighting on that card is building up to greater fights by setting up all these fights right now. But Rachel, just kind of answering Charles Edward Cheese, as far as activity is concerned, how do you feel about that? And is this going in the right direction as far as getting these fighters active by bringing in Turkey Alashiek?
Well, it's interesting to me because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, from what I know about top rank contracts, once you become a world champion, it's about 2 fights a year. and he went down to 1 fight a year. And the numbers that were to showcase who was put in front of him, like people like Sean Porter, weren't big numbers then. So is it our fault? Can we take any accountability and I'm going to say as a pure boxing fan, not as a casual, that he fought guys, and we didn't support it. But now we're too thirsty that we want to see him in certain fights and more. Well, he had more. Top Rank had him fighting twice a year. Why didn't y'all support it? The numbers didn't show it. And Bob Arum told you that he could have bought another house in friggin' Beverly Hills, and that's why he didn't put the money behind Terrence Crawford. And now we're trying to push him up because we're saying like, hey, well, so now he beat Errol Spence, so we should be seeing him more. It's not like this is the twilight of Errol Spence. Of Bud's career. Like, and I say twilight, and I say like 5 years. That's a big twilight, right? But in the beginning of his career, were we there? Did we show up? And if we didn't, who are we to be like, I need more? Are we being a little bit not grabby? What is it called? We're being really demanding because he's been here. He hasn't gone anywhere. But why didn't we show up then when he was building his career? And now he's not building his career anymore. He's undisputed. Well, undisputed. I'm using air quotes because of course we know that IBF took that away. But how do we hold him accountable if we didn't show up then, 5 years ago, 7 years ago? And now we're saying you need to do this. You need to show up. You need to fight more than once a year. And he's like, listen, I was at Top Rank. I fought twice a year. Y'all didn't show up. So why are you telling me to do more? I'm going to, if you're not going to show up when I fight twice a year and split kind of like, if I say it this way, split the not the fan base, but the viewership. And I build a fight and I get a mega fight and I get the same amount of purse. So let's just say 5 million a fight with Bob Arum. 2 times a year is 10 million. But if I get a mega fight once a year, it's 10 to 12 million. Not talking about back end or anything like that. What's going to inspire me to actually fight twice a year?
Yeah.
Should be the fans, but you know how that is. I agree with you 100%, 1,000%. I agree with everybody on the channel, actually. I think everybody made some good points. I think what we're really missing is, like I said, I think bringing it back to what it should be. We should not have 20 pay-per-views every time a decent fight comes on. We should have great fights that come on regular stream TVs or channels, which we're moving away from that anyway with cable companies and everything to come to streaming. But we should have just regular fights on a streaming network. We shouldn't have to pay, like Rachel's saying, what can we do to get, actually the question is, what can we do? What can we do? I think if the casuals start tuning in and you can bring the demand down on these fights, so we're not spending $60, $90, $80 on a fight, that might be able to help drive down some of the numbers, because we don't have them buying the fight. And if it is somebody buying the fight, they're only buying a Tank fight, a Canelo fight, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then we're stuck with the rest of the bill, and then everybody wants those numbers. Everybody wants that paycheck, and it just comes down to sucking. So at the end of the day, pause. It just comes down to just really just depleting us and taking advantage of our capital at the end of the day. And that's what I said. It's just, it is what it is.
I think it kind of comes back. I think to a degree, it kind of comes back to one of the points I was making earlier about needing some younger blood there, right? That's a little bit more in tune with the current market of consumers and what consumer behavior, I guess you could say. Because I think you got a lot of folks that are at the top that are still operating off of what was successful at one point in time, where, anybody that looks to be in any particular business always has to continue to evolve and, adapt to what the environment is, and take what the environment is giving you, right? So I think that if there was somebody younger that's willing to take some risks, which I think Turkey Alashiek in to some degrees is doing a good job with that. So I think the next step would be putting these fights on the platforms. You got to fish where the fish are, right? So to me, if I'm thinking about where the fish lie these days, where because everything is on some sort of a streaming platform, right? I think it would be great if somehow all of the boxing was on an ESPN where all of the sports are, versus something like a DAZN, right? Because DAZN you're tucked away, right? Or even on a Pluto. Pluto is tucked away. I mean, it's tied to Paramount, but still not a whole lot of people, tune in and watch Pluto. I mean, it helps that they've got a contract with the NFL to bring the playoffs over there, but that just started last season. It hasn't been around long enough to where people tap into Pluto and know to go to Pluto for different things. I think, to be honest with you, out of all of the platforms, I think Netflix would be huge if they could somehow figure that out, because people just naturally go to Netflix to see what's on there, right? Like, so that Netflix is the new, like TV guide, in my opinion, right? Like back in the day, you might, turn on your cable television, see what's on the TV, and scroll through. Now people get on your Fire Stick and go straight to Netflix and see what new series is out. Like, could you imagine? Like, as soon as you pull in, you got Terrence Crawford versus X, Y, and Z, or Canelo versus Munguia right there on the screen, and then you also got their build up thing on the shows, like right there for people to tap into and see. And then also, if you got that younger person in there that's putting these cards together, putting better cards, we you can get to know the fighters that are on the undercard, and you got good matchups that are going to be, firefights that really are going to get your casuals in tune. So that's just, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on how we can kind of get away from this, and that's how you kind of that's how you kind of can make a regular consumer of boxing out of somebody that's a casual, or somebody that don't even watch combat sports, that don't even know that they would have an appetite for combat sports.
Right.
So Sean, the only thing that I would argue against, not against, like, do I believe that Netflix has a streaming platform that can take in casuals? Yes, 100%. But it's not just that. Like, it's more so the fact that we don't know how to capitalize on the environment that we're getting, right? Like, so when a fighter wins, like, um we're not really being mainstream. I will tell you that when I'm Netflix and chilling, I'll watch something like Love is Blind, right? Last season, crazy, stupid. People had thoughts about the contestants and all these other things. And that kind of conversation, because we knew the backstory, we didn't care. Like, nobody gives a shit if they run up a mountain 20 times a day, which is, it's HBO's thing, it's Showtime's thing. It was always like this B roll of like, look, they're running up a fucking mountain. Like, that gives a goddamn backstory to us to buy a fight, right? But
Right.
any type of controversy, and the personality that shows out. So that's why I'm really big on, when Contender was a series, or whatever UFC was doing, like with their whole thing. When you got to see a fighter go through a camp house, see how they reacted and how they interacted with their coaches, the other competitors, and sometimes their families would join. Like, you're like, oh, that guy's from my town. Oh, that guy, like, he's working at the same time that he's boxing. Like, he's like me. You know what I mean? Like, we're missing that connection. And I think that if we're going to go into Netflix, we have to understand how to connect to the casual market. And I think we're missing that connection.
No doubt. I agree with you.
Right.
I agree with you, man. It's all building blocks, you know what I'm saying? One step at a time for this whole entire thing to turn around. And a lot of our questions to get answered. You know, it won't just happen in one event. It won't just happen in one fight. It's going to take it took a while to get here. It's going to take us a while to get out of it. But I definitely think Turkey is pushing us in that right direction. Say boxing needs a sort of drive to survive. 100%, Charles. 100%. And
Right.
at the end of the day, Turkey is part of the conversation now. Everybody's part of the conversation now, and that's another thing I love about Turkey that I think is a positive thing is that he's bringing everybody to the table. He understands that everybody has to be part of the conversation. It's about bringing everybody to the table and being like, what are we going to come together and do for boxing, instead of everybody just capitalizing and getting their corner of the market. Now, we need to come to the tables like the Legion of Doom. You know what I'm saying? Like the you know what I'm saying? It's like we got to come together and save boxing. I'll never rock with UFC because of Daddy Dana.
I agree. I agree on that. 1,000%. It
No,
does
I
have
get
to be
that. And
all.
that my whole my whole comparison was just more so of the fact that it's like we had the contender is the same as what UFC would did with their whole personality camp and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, the
that's how
Ultimate Fighter.
people. Yeah, Ultimate Fighter. So that's how people got to know people. We don't care about someone running up a goddamn hill. They show that every single fucking time. I know that when Nonito was doing Showtime and HBO, they would have him run up a hill, and Nonito doesn't run up that hill. It's just for camera shot reasons. So how do we step out of boxing? And Turkey, he's okay. Again, he's paying the fighters what they want to be paid to get in the ring. But how do you actually establish a legacy in boxing? And it's a lot more so of being able to connect with the fighters. Why are you supporting Canelo? Why are you supporting Munguia? Why are you supporting Benavidez? Are you from Arizona? What makes you what makes you feel that type of way with him? Like that kind of backstory is actually what's going to stabilize boxing again. But and if we're just going to keep throwing cards, honestly, it doesn't matter what platform we're going to be on. We're going to get the casual boxers, the casual fans that are going to support their boxer. That's it,
Mhm.
and the hardcore boxing fans that want to see only what they want to see. We're never moving. So we need to change the fucking game. So if Turkey is going to come in and say, hey, I'm going to pick this boxer, that boxer, or this trainer and that trainer, and we're going to follow them through camp, and we're going to show whatever happens. Um, if they're having struggles with weight cuts, if they're having struggles with their family, Ngannou, like that's not a great story. It's a bad story, right? Like what's happening with Ngannou right now. But it's a story,
Yeah,
right?
RIP with your son. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like people understand, like there's people out there that will understand what like women that could not get pregnant, women that have lost a child after childbirth, like there it opens up a whole different dynamic of people. And if you don't tell that story, if you don't connect with them, then we lose a whole portion of why you're fighting. Because at the next, guess what? The next time that he steps in the ring, what is he fighting for? And if he's fighting for his family, people will start to gravitate towards that. But if we can't tell that story, the story's lost.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, so
100%.
maybe you do this, and maybe you know, for instead of having like your all access countdown shows, right? Like before the fight. Let's just say this is on Netflix or something. Maybe you advertise it that two or three of the fighters you're going to follow for their whole 12-week camp, right? That are on the undercard, and then you let it be known that they're all fighting on the big Canelo card, and so that they can see it live, so that they can get invested. So you get a little bit of that reality TV show, with the cameras following them around on their everyday life for, you know, 10 episodes leading up to that main event fight. So they get to see these fighters, and what they've gone through and build up to that crescendo. But then you're also getting the cherry on top of getting to see Canelo fight too in the main event.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, do we understand they hit pads? Yes. Do we understand that they cut weight? Yes. Do we understand that they run? Yes. Like, what makes you who you are? That's the whole thing about social media. like when we start to follow people, it's because we want to see their content, we want to see their lives, we want to see what pictures they're doing, what what videos they're doing, their actual live streams. We're trying to get to know and get closer to someone through social media, and yet boxing hasn't established that, where we're really feeling connected to the boxer, because we're so stuck in this era that 20 years ago, that's this is the game plan. We're going to show you running, we're going to show you hitting pads, we're going to show you, meeting with fans. No one gives a shit. Tell us, did, did you miss your son's birthday, right? Like, did you sneak off to Taco Bell when your trainer told you you weren't supposed to? Things like
Right.
that. Tell how, like, did you miss on a college scholarship? Were you supposed to be on a full ride scholarship to, I think it's Michigan that used to have full ride scholarship for boxing as an amateur? Did you miss out on that and decide to go pro because your family was hungry?
Right.
Tell us the fucking story, because running up a hill, I really could give a fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of things. I mean, and we can get even deeper into it, because even Turkey's commitment to get the video games going back, you know what I mean? Get the boxing video games going back. And even with what he's investing into the trailers building up into these fights, you know what I'm saying? You see what he's doing with the Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk fight, what he did with the Anthony Joshua and the Francis Ngannou fight. Who knows what he's going to be doing for Better Beef and Bivol, what he's doing for the 5-on-5, when you watch that trailer, just making boxing super interesting again, building the story up, like you said, building fans up, feeding into the casual fan base and having them play their favorite fighters on the video game. We haven't had a fight night in I don't know how long, the video game. You know what I'm saying? All these things participate into the bigger picture of building back up interest in these fighters and building back up the interest in these great fights happening.
Right.
Yeah, I know you might not need the promos, Charles, but people are liking it, man. People are watching these little trailers. That little 5-on-5 trailer he got, the movie trailer where he got Raymond Ford in there, and he got, Nick Ball and all those guys in there, with all their little stories. Deontay Wilder got his little story in there, and they're involving it. It's interesting. People like to see that. They like to see that, especially the younger crowd, the casual fans. They get interested in it when they see things like that.
Right.
So.
What's funny though is that, like, I think, was it Junior Spock was saying that they're kind of over, like, when you're a fighter like Shakur, technically superior but extremely boring for the casual. Like, even boxers are having to transition. Like, they're having to talk more on social media. They're having to be outspoken, because unfortunately, in this era, it's not about what you're showing when you get in the ring. Because when you get in the ring, like, okay, that's your 45 minutes, and I'm talking about championship round, what you have to do as a job. But what makes you, like, if we're talking about like Bud Crawford, what makes you relevant for the next 11 months until you come back in? And we're starting to see this, these boxers coming out of themselves and saying things that maybe we didn't expect them to say before. Maybe it was not professional. We had a certain standard before, right? There was Muhammad Ali who would talk shit, and then there was other guys that are like, okay, well, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, because what happens on social media, you say I'm gonna knock him out, then other guys will be coming around and be like, oh, well, you're cocky, you're fucking, like, you're just bragging, you're this and that, you didn't do anything. So then it's kind of this weird balance, and you either have to be a super humble person that's just like, I'm not going to play in this game, or you have to be an over braggart.
No doubt, no doubt.
No.
But
Hey, you know
that's
what? You know what's funny? Real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Claymore.
no, go ahead, brother. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just gonna say, it's funny that you brought that up, because I had this epiphany the other day, because I was just thinking about this, right? When we look at like pound for pound rankings, or when the media is talking about who the best fighters are, they tend to always give, so much credit to the guy that nowadays that wants to fight on the back foot and plays the distance game versus a guy that's a pressure fighter. right? I feel like pressure fighters and action fighters tend to get the short end of the stick when it comes to being, rated as an intelligent fighter or having boxing IQ. It's like unless you fight on the back foot or and keep distance, you're not the intelligent fighter. And to me, it kind of bridging what Rachel was saying, right? Being more exciting and having to come out of your shell. Here's another just a possible solution, and this might be a little bit like controversial, but what if they change the way they start scoring boxing fights? You know what I mean? Where you know you start to become more judged on aggression and what you're able to do offensively, so that it forces people to want to engage more. And so, in the end of the day, it makes for more of an action-packed fight.
It's interesting you say that because I can't remember which fight that we talked about before. That we were talking about the scoring mechanisms of boxing and its effective aggression, right? Like you can't just be aggressive and then also not score or not throw.
Right.
But the fact that there are other entities that if there's no action being given, they start to get deducted points. Now, then we're going to have to go into what is action and stuff like that. But I think the reason why you're saying this, Sean, is more so the fact that, like, again, we're in a social media era that highlight reels are a gold mine, and our attention span in the younger generation is the highlight reels, the 20 seconds, the little Instagram stories that get the most attention. So if we can push the fact that that's really what you want to be at the end of the day, then that would make sense. Because there's a lot of high caliber fighters out there that their highlight reel is like slim to none.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
agree.
a problem. Again, that like how we're moving in this era, and them watching a fight. If you watched a fight, I actually think Claymore, it was that one. Whose fight was it that I logged off and I was like, hey, I'm going to the bar. It was like 3 rounds in.
3 weeks ago. 2
Yeah.
weeks.
That was oh my God, I don't remember.
Was
I
it
don't remember.
Anderson?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
Jared
it?
Anderson. It was Jared Anderson
Yeah, that
fight.
was
Oh, right,
Jared
right,
fight.
right.
Yeah.
Jared Anderson put the place to sleep. Right. Right.
Yeah. So like things like that, like I mean, and I'm such a hardcore boxing fan that like I'm like, okay, I really want to watch this. Show me something. And I'm going to sleep. I'm like, okay, I need to go to the bar to wake up. That's that's where we are. So I don't even know how to negate the judging because of the fact that the judging scoring, you have to also remember, like most of those refs are about 45 to 50 and over. So you
Hmm.
have to actually change and retrain how they score fights. Um, and they've done it for decades at this point. And to tell them like, hey, like I need you to like score for a push of action. I think that that's going to at least take 5 to 7 years to see a turnover for them to score it that way.
Right.
Right.
No doubt. No doubt. But guys, look, it's about that time. We've been going on damn near 3 hours. Ray Davis is about to pass out in front of everybody on here. Rachel, I ain't seen you in a minute, girl. I know you've been busy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't heard from you in a minute, so I was glad to see you show up in the chat
Back
and
on the show.
with us on the panel. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean?
I didn't
But
see
I know
you,
you guys
right?
are busy doing your thing. Oh yeah,
No,
MVP by
I
the
did my MRI. I did my MRI the other day, and they told me. That's why I haven't been on because they've actually put me on meds because I had like bulging discs from the Uber accident I got in.
Mhm.
So yeah, so they put me on more pain meds because I had like 3 bulging discs on my neck. So
Okay.
Ooh.
yeah,
Okay. I
fun
hope
time.
that. I mean, it sounds like that's working out in a positive way. Like you're getting that treated, getting it back together. I know you're still in the gym. Probably not supposed to be. You're probably still in that
I'm
damn
not
thing.
supposed to be for sure.
Yeah. Stubborn. But I'm glad to hear you're in good health. Definitely salute coming on the platform. Hope to see you on it again more often again, like it used to be. And we got to build. I got to hit you up. I mean, we could build on the thing going on.
Thank you, Rachel, for the insight.
For sure. Yo, Sean, same with you. Honestly, with you, you don't be coming around like you're supposed to be coming around, bro. You be out of pocket, bro. You be doing your own thing. Y'all won't be seeing you for a long time. Know what I'm saying? And you pop up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But it's all good. I know you be busy too. But I appreciate you guys. Panels like this. This is a real good evening as far as the panel was concerned. Shout out to King too as well. I know he had to bounce out and do things. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Charles Edward Cheese, as usual. I appreciate the support you give us out here. Everybody in the building, 2 cents. I appreciate you. JR Spock, Band Up, just some of the names that you see every week, every day we do this show. You start to see that foundational support that we get from everybody. Rick Timms is also becoming a regular. J Pitt City always in the building. Here for Boxing, always in the building. I see Free Smoke popping up a lot more. RC, Ordinary M, always in the building. I don't see TR tonight, but TR is always supporting as well. We're building the channel slowly but for surely. So I appreciate all the support you guys have for the channel. And anything you want to say to close out, Ray?
No, I just want to just double back on what you said. Thank you everybody for coming up. I thank the panel for sticking with us and allowing us to cook tonight on what's boxing, about and which direction boxing needs to go in. It's definitely a fun topic to talk about these things and where it should go, because it's boxing and some business of boxing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't always have the insights, but that helped. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Sean, for pointing those things out. Even King bringing some things to the plate. But this is what people want. You know what I mean? We want boxing. We want the fights. You want the fights to be worth it, and you guys definitely capitalized on the conversation tonight. So we appreciate it. Thank you. And everybody in the chat, Charles Edward Cheese. Where's my boy?
Cheese.
Facts. Oh, he retracted statements. Can't retract them. Yeah. We see him anyway. But at the end of the day,
all right, man.
Yeah. Let's salute everybody in the chat, man. Like, for real. This is what it is.
Appreciate you guys.
When you elevate, stacking up losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got this whole view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they want to come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. It's my vocation. Now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on the jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Starting all bad like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else, I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to borrow, so I had to renovate, I know. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah. I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, I had to elevate. Oh yeah, why they wanna bring me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down. Yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't slow it down. Oh yeah. I see the flashing lights. Make sure the fashion right, yeah. I'm in my bag tonight, yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up before it. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah. This that high life with a few.